Aloha and welcome to the January 2026, already January 7th, meeting of the Neighborhood Board 5, Diamond Head, Kapahulu, St. Louis Heights, calling the meeting to order. And I hope that this year is also another wonderful year for us, that we can really share well together, calmly, politely, getting our points across and with passion at times as needed, but always with aloha. So with that, I will ask, and a reminder to folks, please be succinct when you're testifying. Like I said, if Arlene is, as she is so eloquent, says something that's wonderful, you don't need to exactly repeat it. You can just say, I agree with everything that Arlene said, and a little more if you got something more, and move on so that our meetings can get to all the very many things that we have on here. With that, I will ask Curtis for a roll call, and then we'll go to public safety reports after that.
Allen,
Here.
Asina, absent. Knight,
Here.
Matson, absent. Miranda.
Here.
Murchie,
Here.
Rosman. Rosman, I see online. It has indicated via chat. St. Dennis, Velasco, Wasden, present. Witherwax, absent. Bruce Wong.
Here.
Kendrick Wong. Linda Wong. Kendrick Wong, Linda Wong, absent. Chair Welch is present. 10 members present.
And I do see Kendrick right there. Kendrick Wong. I don't know if you got him or not. Yeah, he's right in the. Okay, very good. Thank you for that, Curtis, and thank you for your great service last year and this year too. We will start with Honolulu Fire Department. Honolulu Fire Department. Is there someone online here from the HFD? Not yet. Okay, if they come in later, then we'll have them come in. And with that, we'll move on to Honolulu Police Department, District 6, Waikiki, Kapilani Park, Diamond Head. Anyone on? Is it? That's District 6.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Acting Lieutenant Jared Spiker for Day Watch for District 6 of Waikiki. I just assumed this position about 1 week ago, so bear with me. My first neighborhood board meeting. But I'll just go over the stats for December for Waikiki, the crime stats. So for December 2025, we had 6 robbery cases compared to 4 the previous month. We had 16 burglary cases compared to 12 the previous month. 85 theft cases compared to 102 the previous month. 7 unauthorized entry into motor vehicle cases compared to 7 the previous month, so that stayed the same. The assault cases, we had 37 for December, and it was 41 the previous month. For the sex crimes cases, we had 3 for December. That was 0 the previous month. For bike or skateboarding on the sidewalk, we had 0 citations, 1 the previous month. For speeding, we issued 24 citations compared to 32 the month prior. We issued 1,584 parking citations compared to 1,563 the month prior. Loud muffler and prohibited noise citations, we issued 3, generated 3 of those cases compared to 6 the previous month. For park closures, we had 69 citations and 16 arrests compared with 86 citations and 25 arrests the previous month. Total calls for service for December, we had 4,357 calls. That was down from 4,825 the previous month. Also for December, we had 25 DUI arrests who are keeping up with the traffic enforcement to keep the street safe for everybody. And that's our statistics. I also wanted to introduce, we have a new Major Paul Okamoto. He just came over about 2 weeks ago and he would say a few words. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Okamoto. I'm the new major for Waikiki. My previous assignment to this, I was the legislative liaison liaison officer for the department. So I interacted a lot with the city council. And previous to that, I was the major for District 1, which is Honolulu. So that's all the way from Chinatown, edge of Kalihi, all the way to Punahou, excluding Waikiki. So I'm really excited to be here. I know just a small portion of your neighborhood is part of my district. But it's very important because we just have, three ways to access Waikiki, right? And the Diamond Head area is one of those areas. So, and, criminal element doesn't really recognize boundaries. So, I'm sure, I'm going to be working closely with, District 7, which is East Honolulu. And I'll be here, excuse me. I'll be here. I'll try to be here till the end, and I want to meet with you, Phil, because if you have any questions, introduce myself to you, and I'm looking forward to listening to some of your community concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Major. Are there questions for Honolulu Police Department District 6 in person or online? Go ahead, Laura.
The one about park closures, was that the new ones that are Makale and on the ocean?
You're talking about specific park?
Yeah.
Usually, if there's a park closure applicable to that park, you'll see the signs up, and generally that's from 10 p.m. From 10 p.m.
Oh, okay.
So check the park and see if there's signs. Sometimes the signs are vandalized with stickers. They'll take them down. Let us know. We'll make a report. Replace them.
Okay.
But that's really a good tool for us so that we can address the vacancy that occurs from time to time. So I don't know if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions for Major Okamoto? I just had a couple of, one was, well, first of all, welcome to the district and thank you for the report, Lieutenant. I was wondering if you could tell us about the ride-along program, if that's still existing, and also if you could tell us about fireworks and how they were this year compared to last year in the area that you have responsibility for. And that might have come on after you changed districts, but maybe anecdotally you could tell us.
Yeah,
when you
sure.
report.
Yeah. So the ride-along program, I believe that's still administered through our community affairs division. So, and I think there's some rules to that. But I think if you're part of, if you're a student or maybe if you're part of government, maybe you can apply for that. But please check through our website, honolulupd.org. Go to the community affairs division website, and they usually coordinate the ride-alongs. And so you might have an opportunity to ride along with either a District 7 officer, which is East Honolulu, or if you want to ride along in Waikiki, we can certainly host that. In terms of the fireworks, I worked on New Year's Eve. I think it was generally muted, more muted this year than it was last. In terms of statistics for Waikiki, just Waikiki, it was very, very low. I think we had like 7 or 8 calls for service for the entire night. I think most of the calls were like right before midnight. I did see somebody try to light off an aerial right on Kalakaua, right by the substation while I stood there. I didn't see who lit it, but I saw it from the substation. But I think, generally, anecdotally, I think, I'll talk to my other majors and other people in the department. I think it was generally muted. The new law that was passed this past July, right? I think that really put a chill on some of the fireworks celebrations all around the island. I don't know, maybe you guys had a different experience, but even driving home at 1:30, 2 o'clock at night, I mean, it really did seem like less smoggy, and there was less noise. So I really do encourage people to go out to like those professional fireworks displays like we had at Waikiki Beach. I think the Waikiki Business Improvement District, they'll put that on this year for Waikiki, but I think I saw 20 or 30,000 people out there on the beach at midnight. It was really, really, really great. And so hopefully they can be, we can have more of those instead of people trying to light aerials at their own houses.
Thank you very much. And if there's no other questions. We thank you for coming and always for your service. And with that, we will move on to District 7, Diamond Head, Kapalulu, St. Louis Heights, East Honolulu. And I believe online, is it Lieutenant Nishimura?
Yes, good evening. Hi, Lieutenant Nishimura. I'm representing District 7, East Honolulu.
This meeting is being transcribed and
following-
summarized.
Are the statistics for the month of December. Motor vehicle theft 4, burglary 5, theft 17, UEMV was 15. We have total calls for service in the district 5,968. Our safety tip for the month, as there have been unfortunately some fatalities earlier, starting off the year. We just like to emphasize safer roads and to please drive safely. For drivers, buckle up. Please pay attention while you're driving, not on your phone. Slow down in neighborhoods, especially near schools. Don't drink and drive. For pedestrians, use crosswalks and make sure it's safe when you do cross the street. Look both ways. Make eye contact with any drivers that may be approaching. And for motorcyclists, of course, please drive defensively, wear protective equipment. And again, always please do not drive drunk. But that's our report for the month. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Are there questions for Lieutenant Nishimura in person or online? Someone did ask me about that there was a couple terrible accidents on Wailea, one involving a young lady where the car came onto the sidewalk. Do you know about that? It was it'd be a week or so ago.
That one, I don't have any details on that particular incident, but I can find out for you. I know there was one yesterday, and that was in that old Wailea Road area around the Humane Society, where a pedestrian was involved. But that one, fortunately, it was very, very minor injuries, and the pedestrian was able to walk away. But yeah, we encourage the safety again. But I can try and look for that. That was on Wailea Avenue. Yeah, I can look into that.
Yeah, it was I mean, such a tragic year with so many deaths on the road. You know, everybody should remember to drive with Aloha and walk and ride with Aloha too. Just paying attention out for each other. Thank you very much, Lieutenant. And we have one more question for you online. I think it's Margaret.
There was a big accident today at about 3:00. Was it 3:00? Yeah, 3:00. No, 2:30 at the bottom of the hill. I wondered if Angie had seen it. There were a lot right by the I'm trying to think, right across the street from the city mill and it's got that funky driveway and it's in the right turn lane. It was really a smash up, ambulance there and everything. So that's a funky corner. I don't know what happened. But I also want to ask about a police report, and maybe I should talk to somebody afterwards. I tried to take a lift early. Can I talk about this or no? Should I wait? I tried to take a lift on New Year's Eve about 6:00 to go to my girlfriend's house in Waikiki, and the Lyft driver came and he had such a high car. He had a 4Runner, and I couldn't get into it. And and then he started yelling at me, and he called the police. And there is a police report, and I'm wondering what the heck. I mean, it was nuts. He was nuts. But where would I find that kind of a thing? I didn't get a copy of, and the one guy that was a police guy, he said, just forget about it. You know, he was trying to tell the lady cop not to make a report because the guy was so nutty. But the police lady yelled up because he said I damaged his car. And I hadn't even gotten, in or out. I was right in front of my house on, St. Louis Drive. It was really scary, but I'm scared to report it because they'll come down and burn my house. But he said I damaged his car. I didn't do anything. I just couldn't get into his truck.
If you
Thank
like
you,
to,
Margaret.
yeah, if you'd like to see a copy of the report,
Yes.
so you can,
Yeah.
yeah, so you can request a copy from the Honolulu Police Department Records Division.
Okay.
You can go
Just by
online at
date?
honolulupd.org, and then you can look for the information there on how to request a report. And if you're
That's so
unsure about,
weird.
yeah, if you're unsure about what the report number is, you can kind of,
Yeah, I
you can
don't
use
know.
the, yeah, the time and date and approximate. They can find
It
it for
was
you.
really spooky. I mean, the other Lyft driver came because luckily I, called somebody else and he came and he was just watching the whole neighborhood with 2 police cars in front of my house. And
I'm
then the
glad.
police lady yelled at me, told
Well,
me I
Thank
was
you,
gonna be
Margaret.
arrested if I didn't show
Yeah,
I
that's
up.
think you can
unfortunate.
call them then,
Well,
Margaret, and thank you,
Okay.
Lieutenant, for the
Yeah.
follow-up on that.
thank you.
Okay, and thank you, Lieutenant, and stay safe out there. With that, we'll move on to the Board of Water Supply and Kathleen Pahinui. Thank you.
Aloha, thank you. Happy New Year, Board, Chair. We had 2 main breaks in your community on December 15th. We had a 4-inch main break at 2939 Hibiscus Place. And on the 22nd of December, we had a 6-inch main break at 1142 First Avenue in Honolulu. Our really big news, and we're really proud and excited, we partnered with the Department of Environmental Services, and we have doubled some of the rebates on our most popular products such as toilets and clothes washers. So now, if you're remodeling your home or need a new toilet, you can get up to $200 on your toilet. And most toilets, you can get a really good toilet for under $200. So you basically get a free toilet. Fortunately, we can't help you with the installation and the plumbing, but at least the toilet will be free. So we really hope people will take advantage of this. Clothes washers are now 150. And if you want to install a smart water meter in your house, and this is, you actually put it into your plumbing inside your house, and it helps you if you have a leak, it will automatically turn it off because leaks can cost a lot of money. And those run between 500 to 1,000. You can get up to $400. So it's not insignificant. We're very grateful for the partnership with ENV coming online. And we had a nice little press conference. Maybe you saw my boss on TV yesterday. So we hope, please spread the word, and we hope you will take advantage of these opportunities. A couple of updates. Chair, I'm still working on your tree credit. I haven't forgotten. I will keep torturing them until they answer me. Montserrat, we're finished with the installation on Montserrat Avenue. Portion of the project is complete. The contractor still needs to connect the new main on Montserrat to the existing main on Leahi Avenue. Contractor will be working to install the new 16-inch and 12-inch mains on Campbell Avenue from Montserrat Avenue to Kanaoa Street. So we continue with that project. And we did get a call into the mayor's office, and we are responding, or we have responded. And they were just concerned that, there's a couple other city agencies also been doing some work in the area. And they were just concerned that we aren't coordinated. And I want to assure everybody we do. We actually meet with the Department of Facility Maintenance, Department of Environmental Services, Department of Transportation Services. We actually all meet with them every month. Our engineers meet with their engineers, and we coordinate projects throughout the city. So we are not just going in, tearing up stuff, and then somebody comes in. We actually sit down at a table and we talk to each other. So we just want to reassure everybody we're doing that. And yes, there are just a lot of projects in that area right now from all of us. And it's because the area warrants it and it needs it. The last thing I wanted to bring up was the Diamond Head fencing project. I checked in on it to see what was going on. And they received a 6-month landscaping maintenance report from the contractor. There appears to have been some complications with the trees taking root and dying unfortunately, during the summer fall season because it's been so dry. So they're going to go back in and replant. So we're still working on it. And as soon as we have something to show you, we will bring you up there. So thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Any questions for the Board of Water Supply? Yeah, actually, the mountain, since it's been raining, just looks very green. So,
Yes, we're very grateful for all the rain we've been getting.
yeah, it might be good as that maybe to talk with the landscapers about how they're going to transition to no water and just being more of a natural cycle as the,
Yeah, that's what we're working on. And unfortunately, just this past year was a horrible year for rainfall. It didn't help us.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much, Oak. And I think Arlene Velasco.
Hi, Kathleen. I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that we're still considered to be in a drought, are we not?
Yes, but it's a very light drought. I don't believe it's as heavy as it's as serious as it was like a couple months ago.
Okay, are you still wanting people to reduce their usage?
We always want people to reduce the
Okay.
usage, and now our partner ENV is right there with us, also saying reduce, save the water, protect our water supplies, because conservation is the cheapest, single best way to extend our water resources. And we want to make sure there's water for future generations.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. for
Thank
coming
you,
down.
sir.
And next we've got Diamond Head State Monument updates. Olivia Storms, Division of State Parks, Diamond Head Interpretive Center Coordinator. Are you online, Olivia, or do not see? Okay. If she comes, we can know later. And Kapi'olani Community College updates. Lisa Yamamoto, are you happen to be online with us, Lisa? I see. There's Lisa.
Aloha. Aloha mai. I don't have much updates from Kapi'olani Community College other than school will start. The 2026 semester will begin starting Monday, this coming Monday. That's pretty much it. Also, Kapi'olani Community College will be celebrating its 80th year. But other than that, Happy New Year to you, Chair, and the board.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there questions for a representative from Kapi'olani Community College? Okay, Happy New Year, Lisa. Well, look forward to seeing you this year. Are there any announcements of public events, races, parades, similar activities of community interest? Anybody online that has anything? I didn't receive anything. Did you, Curtis? Okay, and with that, we are delighted to have the City Managing Director, Mike Forby, come back to give us an update on potential land exchange to temporarily accommodate the Department of Ocean Safety on Kapi'olani Park Trust lands. So I realize you got an update for us, sir. So thank you very much for coming out and Happy New Year.
I do. Good evening, Board Chair Welch and board members. Mike Formby, Managing Director. I think, Anthony, you passed out the update to the board members. So to make it simple for you, on the second page in bold, that is the updated material from the last handout. And basically, I wanted to let you know that subsequent to appearing before the board, board member Miranda, who I think you all know works for us as our legislative liaison, board member Miranda, myself, and some other individuals in our office met with the Kapi'olani Park Preservation Society, and specifically there were two board members present, and that was board member Redman and Downing. And we presented to them the information that we had presented to the board. And it was a productive meeting. They were not opposed to the concept of a swap. The only change was they had two considerations for us. The first one, which we were not opposed to, was that the land that would come out, which would be the two parcels that currently house the headquarters of Ocean Safety, would automatically revert back into the trust when we relocate the headquarters. So it wouldn't have to be a conscious decision. It would be an automatically legal decision. That's normally called a reversionary interest. And the second one, which we do have concerns with, and they did not appear to be, I guess, hard on. In other words, there was some room to talk and negotiate, was they proposed alternative parcels. And so if you look at the handout, I have attachments, and on the back there is a map, and it is looks like this. This is the one that they brought to the meeting. And the top parcel that's outlined in blue. The top parcel that is outlined in blue, the 2.21 acres, that's the parcel that we proposed. And then the parcel that is outlined in yellow is the alternative parcel that they asked us to consider. And the way they phrased it was it could either be in addition to the 2.21 or it could be an alternate to the 2.21. And so we've had this land, which is shown on the backup tax maps. If you go back behind that, you'll see that's 1.22 acres. And the concern with that parcel is that it currently houses a DPR maintenance yard. It's where they work out of. And the maintenance yard there does not only service the Kapi'olani Park, which means if they service properties that are not in the trust and they're located in the trust, then it potentially becomes use inconsistent with the trust. And it also has a woman's bathroom there. So our preference is to still stay with the 2.21 acres at the entrance to the park, to dedicate that permanently into the trust. And then when we move the headquarters off those two parcels, they would automatically revert into the trust. And Michelle Matson had asked me to prepare a conceptual plan. And by the way, I was emailing with Michelle, and Michelle has infinitely more information and knowledge regarding all of these parcels than I do. And she sent me stuff that I couldn't even begin to understand, because she goes all the way back to the 1700s, but she's tracked all of this. And so the recommendation that I was going to make to the board is that this be presented to the Parks and Rec Committee of the Diamond Head Neighborhood Board, and they get a chance to meet with Michelle to review the documents and to come back and let the city know if they support our recommendation. And at the same time, I'll be going to the Waikiki Neighborhood Board and presenting the information to them. But I did include a one-page document called a conceptual plan, and it's very straightforward. I think you can read it yourself and understand it. The paragraph that I want you to focus on is paragraph number 5, and that the administration's goal, which is supported by both the mayor and myself, is to continue expanding the acreage of the existing Kapi'olani Park Trust. And that's our commitment to the community, and it's for the benefit of the residents of the city and county of Honolulu. So we're not trying to do a sleight of hand here. We're actually trying to accommodate our ability to build or purchase and rehab a headquarters for ocean safety, move them off those two parcels, put it back, and then continue to expand. I'm here for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Managing Director. I think we do have some questions, and Vice Chair Velasco.
It's related to the same area, but not exactly.
Yeah.
The Diamond Head Community Garden, there is a house kind of off of Pocky Avenue right next to it.
Mhm.
And we were told, and it was in the newspaper months ago, that the people that were squatting there basically were being evicted. And then we were also told that it was going to be, the garden was going to be expanded. And I was just wondering if you have any information, because we do still see the people there at night.
Yeah, I do not, but I'll be happy to follow up on that. I actually wasn't aware that there were squatters on that property. And so whoever has more information, I would like to get that and then work with Corporation Counsel and see what can be done.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll follow up. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Other questions for the Managing Director? Go ahead, Angie.
Hi, thank you for the updates. Forgive me if you've already answered this before, but when you say temporarily use that area, how long is temporary?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's a good question. Another request, and I think Michelle made this as well, is that we put a time limit on it, like 10 years. So that, we actually do our due diligence and try to find them another location. I think that's appropriate. We're not opposed to that either. I think at some point, I can't speak for the future administration 9 years down the road, but at some point, if they're not fully ready to relocate, I think they would come back for an extension, but we're not opposed to that either. I'll tell you that the parcel that we currently have available for ocean safety is in Kaka'ako, and it's not an ideal parcel. It's not connected to the water. The city, the mayor and I are currently in negotiations with OHA about an exchange of a city parcel in Kaka'ako that is landlocked for a Hawaiian Cultural Center. And I'm going to approach them about giving us a 60-year lease on some of their waterfront property in Kaka'ako to put ocean safety there, because they have boat and jet skis that would optimally be in the water in the event of an incident or an accident. So all of that is in a special management area, which means it's a more lengthy process You have to go through an EIS. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but I would think 10 years is a safe window for the city to budget, plan, design, and construct. Appreciate that question.
Did you have a question, Linda? Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you.
There's a couple of small things that, where the lifeguard disability or not, the reserve parking is. Okay, there's like 8 or something stalls there at least. And there's only one disability stall on the whole run from Montserrat to Coconut.
Okay.
And and they're never used. They're never used by the people that put on all the fares and stuff.
Yeah.
They need to load off and on, and they have a hard time, not being able, I know the chair of that. And I was wondering if they really use them for anything. Never see them used. I know it's probably for an emergency in the
Yeah.
ocean, I guess,
Right.
but I thought maybe you could just take a look at that.
I can. I'll be happy to look at it. I actually don't know what the legal requirement is for number of disability stalls based upon the available stalls, but I'll find out.
Well,
I'll look
they're
at that.
technically lifeguards,
Yeah.
so I don't know what that.
Let me find
category-
out.
Yeah, and then just one more thing. I wanted to talk to you about something else, and I think it's all right. I don't want to wait till later in the program and have you come back. The Kuile Cliffs situation doesn't seem to have changed. There's the city would like them to water at nighttime, and I don't think that's gonna work. So it's sort of like an impasse still. And I was wondering if maybe you could resurrect your talks or do something about it before they just quit.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to Laura Thielen about that. I did see an email from her where she agreed to have her irrigation crew go out and look at the valves and the lines on the cliffs, because I think they have to replace some of the parts.
Okay.
So, but I'll follow up with Laura on that as well. I know Laura was committed to fixing that, resolving that.
Well, what I heard from Tommy's chief of staff was that Tommy put, $10,000, a big amount, maybe it was 10, in the budget for the water at Kuile Cliffs. But then I've asked and not gotten an answer several times. So
Okay,
I
I'll
don't
find
have
out.
any idea. There's a pot full of money.
Yeah,
And so it needs some intervention somewhere, and I think you might be the man.
yeah, I'll find out. I'm not sure where the $10,000 was.
Maybe it's 100,000, it was a big amount.
Oh, it was 100,000.
It could be. I
Okay,
don't
we'll find
be
out.
honest with you. I
I
don't.
mean, it would be easy if it's in the operating budget. If it's in the CIP budget, probably doesn't qualify because irrigation is not CIP, but I'll find out, Linda, where it is and then follow up with you.
I think if that was the case, they wouldn't have done it that way to begin with.
Yeah.
And number 2, they would have told me when I asked.
Well, we have bulk funds in DPR anyway that can be used for stuff like this, so I'll check on that.
So there should be a solution. I just am really dismayed, and I imagine others are too, that the city parks person in charge of, I guess, the Honolulu area, he came from the park.
Okay.
And he sent them notice that if they don't vacate the area, he would have the police come remove them.
You're talking park users versus
Park
homeless
manager,
park managers.
yes. I think his
Okay.
name is Brett.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to you more about that because I haven't heard
But
that.
I didn't know to follow you out.
Yeah.
Or put it up, so
Yeah.
it needs some kukua.
Yeah, let's talk so I get more
Okay.
details from you. I
That's
appreciate
just
that.
outrageous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
Hi.
Hi.
So I was the one in, trying to get Leahi back. We're still without a lot of parking spaces. And you and the mayor said you would like to give some of those parking spaces back on the Mackay side of Leahi. Yes, there's 2 crosswalks. But I can see what I think are 3 parking spaces that could go back to the neighborhood.
Okay.
And in front of the lifeguard building, there used to be one that the neighborhood could use, and now they don't have it. Because we have even more people and less parking spaces.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm more than happy if you will give me some detail of where you think those 3 parking spaces could be.
Okay,
I'm more than happy to have DTS come out and look at that, and if we can put parking back in, we will.
okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
we're not opposed to that.
Other questions for the managing director, Margaret?
Hi there. While we're talking about parking spaces and DTS, if you could have them take another look, this is not what I wanted to talk to you about, but they've got a left turn only when you're going Mackay on Montserrat. Left turn only into Leahi that we don't need, and it's backing up traffic everywhere. And when it would be easy because Pocky Avenue dead ends into a one-way coming Malka, right?
Right.
And I know we talked about this before and it was just goofy, but it's just been a real pain. Can you just I know we were in the Civil Beach, about that same area, but it's crazy. I mean, you've got the easy left turn on Pocky. It's not an easy left turn on Leahi, and I actually did go out and, scope out where you guys have your equipment and offices and things like that on Leahi. And the only thing that I noticed would be really nice if you landscaped around because I saw like they dump stuff, dump the equipment on the Leahi side, and we see it when we drive by. So it just needs to be cleaned up, and it'd be really nice if you guys landscaped around the perimeter. It's just kind of messy looking. You
Okay,
know what I mean?
Thank
Right.
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question, managing director. If the city were able to get, say, very quickly a place in Kaka'ako that you're looking for, would in fact the city still want to turn over these parcels to the trust, as well as perhaps that other area where the women's bathroom is, with some sort of contingency that says this will also service areas outside of the park? And I think Cape Kapolei Park Preservation said I might be amenable to that.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure I understand the question. So the 2.21
Right. And
plus the
if
two
you
parcels.
relocated the ocean safety over to Kaka'ako now, rather than sort of having a duplicative effort maybe now and then maybe a year from now,
Yeah.
looking at doing that, would it make sense, or would the city be amenable to turning over these plots to the trust as well without
Yeah.
any land exchange?
Yeah, so we would entertain it, but I'll tell you, there's no place for ocean safety to go unless we build a location or purchase something and then rehab it. So right now in Kaka'ako, there's nothing on the land. It's just a lot.
I see.
just- It's just a paved lot.
Okay.
And so it may be that we'll find property on the ocean that is already existing and we can rehab it more quickly. But right now, we don't have an alternative for ocean safety. But the question about whether or not we're interested in putting more land into the trust, the mayor and I are. We would have to have that conversation with the council and others as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Arlene has one more question.
One more quick question. What about the natatorium and I know that sometimes the lifeguards do have offices there, and I was told that they get flooded.
Yeah, so I think, I got to find out, but I was going to say that I think they're already out of there. I think Ocean Safety has already moved out of the natatorium, but let me find out. But they don't plan to be there as their district office any further. It does flood. Yeah, it's not safe. There's holes in the floor. They're covered up with boards. And if you want an update on the natatorium, I can have Chief of Staff Andy Sugg come and talk to you about that because he's the one that's been working that project. I don't have details on that, but I can get it for you. Yeah, happy to do that.
Okay, and I think that we have one more question online from Michelle Matson. Is that right? Go ahead, Michelle.
Yes, aloha, Mike. I'm sorry I was able to join, so I was unable to join on time. I don't know if you went through your conceptual plan that was mentioned for the ocean safety facility to remain at on the two trust lots on Leahi Avenue until an appropriate location um, could be determined. And I note that Chair Welch has mentioned Kaka'ako. I was very active in the Kaka'ako master plan from 2005 through 2011, when it was approved by the HCDA for the ocean safety and emergency management to relocate to the Kewalo Basin. And that parcel, I believe, is still available. The reasoning or the rationale behind that was that ocean safety watercraft could access Diamond Head as well as Eva along the shoreline for rescue missions and monitoring. And then if there were any emergencies, they would go back to their site in Kewalo and straight to the hospitals in central Honolulu. So it's centrally located. That seems far more efficient than a little, couple little parcels on Leahi Avenue where you have to move mobile offices and a restroom, and we still don't know where the stored towers, lifeguard towers, are going to be relocated. I'm sorry, do you have that conceptual plan available that we can refer to in committee?
I do, and it's attached to the handout that I gave the board tonight. But Michelle, I think we're looking at all available spaces in Kaka'ako and Kewalo. And the facility that is at the mouth of Kewalo is now Kupu. And that facility is under a 60-year lease to Kupu. And HCDA has made that parking lot available to Kupu through a right of entry. And that's because when they
Correction.
levy- Yeah,
That is not the Kupu lot. We had testified that the Kupu lot should be expanded as park space. The recommended lot is Malka of that Kupu lot. And yes, parking may be a question. Also, the rail, the so-called blight line, I don't call it skyline, I call it blight line. That would need parking in the same area. So I believe there may be a cooperative parking facility proposed at Piers, perhaps 5 and 6, to accommodate also Hawaii Pacific University as well as this blight line parking. And so there's a much larger plan. It must be in the back room somewhere. But as far as ocean safety is concerned, that is the priority right now, saving lives. And we fully support ocean safety as part of the Diamond Head Special District area. There's no question about that. We have fully supported the brilliant former administrator of ocean safety, John Titchen. And now we have a proposal from you. And my question is it from you as a very creative, uh, I guess, visionary, to exchange the 2.2 acres at the entrance of Kapiolani Park for the 1/3 of an acre double lots that Ocean Safety now occupies? Is that your creative idea, or did it come from another source?
no, that was my idea, working with the mayor. And we knew once we formed a department that we would need more administrative space. And we also knew that since 1998, ocean safety being in that location was inconsistent with the trust.
All
So
right.
we just married the two together and decided we would find another location, either purchase or build a permanent ocean safety site. And in the meantime, make consistent use of those two parcels by temporarily taking it out of the trust.
Well, I agree to a point, and I am extremely supportive of your creative ideas for the trust. And I will support you in every way that I can as a descendant of the architect of the Kapiolani Park Trust, as well as the president of the Diamond Head State Monument Foundation and member of this neighborhood board. I have a proposal, but I also have a question to precede that. Have there been any other proposals or suggestions since you have come out with this very creative idea for exchange of trust lands? Has there been anything since from other stakeholders?
Yes, there was, and I briefed the board tonight that we met with the Preservation Society and they proposed an alternative parcel. And that was the parcel that I sent to you via email, and the board tonight has the handout that shows that parcel. And I indicated to them that the city has a concern with that as an alternative parcel because it has a DPR base yard there, and that base yard does not only serve the Kapiolani Park Trust, it serves non-trust property. So I think that would be an inconsistent use. So we're still focused on the 2.21 acres at the entrance to the park.
And at this time, I think,
Personally,
managing-
I can support that, what, the remaining, I mean, the original proposal. I would strongly support that. I do not understand what these two lots are, that KPPS is proposing. They're actually segmenting two original, what were, leased lots for 30 years, and then would go back to the trust. But they're supporting dividing them in half and using only, from your email, using only the shoreline half of the two parcels in exchange. I don't understand the rationale behind that, and I think it bears more discussion in our committee, and I don't want to take up our board time with that. There are very serious issues here. This has to go before the city council, and then it has to go before the courts. And I would like to actually introduce an idea that your land exchange of the 2.2 acres is excellent. I think so many people would support that because it's at the entrance of Kapiolani Park. It is a very important parcel that was taken by private interests in the first place from the Crown lands, and for in exchange for properties outside the trust. And I think I emailed you on that. So we'd like to see that put back into what became the trust in 1896. And also the two parcels, the ocean safety parcels, I don't know that it warrants taking out of the trust. I think the courts might agree that in exchange for a specified period of temporary use by ocean safety until they find an appropriate location, and have the master plan for that location, that those lots should remain in the trust to be temporarily used, and that needs to be part of the agreement, temporary, for a
And Michelle,
certain
let me
period of
just stop you
time.
there because I
certain
think you
period of
missed the
time.
managing director. He did also already state that the city's amenable to that. And I think that probably this is getting a little bit in the weeds for us and that we should commit this to committee because it's got a lot of details that you will certainly have. And with that, I know that our Parks Committee Chair Miranda has recused himself. So I will ask Arlene Velasco to chair since Anthony can't, the Parks Committee, and that we set that up and that any information that would be relevant to us that you
May
could
I just finish my
provide
statement,
us.
Mr. Chair? I'm just about finished.
Okay, if you can make it succinct, because I think you missed the part that is sort of being repeated here.
Well, I'm very sorry, and I'm sorry to take up the time on that, but I just wanted to be very clear as a descendant of the architect of the trust, as well as a member of the neighborhood board and member of other prestigious organizations around Diamond Head, that we should refer this to committee. We should work very closely with our managing director. He has proposed something absolutely phenomenal for us to consider. And there are many aspects that we can support, but there are also a few caveats, such as temporary is often permanent in Honolulu. So we
Well,
must have an
we should take that all up in committee.
agreement. We must have
I
an
think the
agreement with the
managing
city.
director's, he's been
Uh,
clear that we will cover
Point
all
of
of that.
order, Mr. Chair, I have the floor.
It's,
We must have an agreement with the city
yes, and I
that
think
there
the
is a
managing director said
specific
he's amenable to an
period
agreement.
of,
He is amenable to that, Michelle. So I
there's a
think with that,
specific
we're
temporary
sort of
period.
repeating things. So let me,
Yes. Well, I'm just trying to verify that.
yeah,
And so
no,
may
I
we
think you
have that
missed
on the
it
record,
because you were a
please?
little bit late coming on, but all of that was verified by the managing director. And I think he's more than willing to work with us. So we appreciate, all of what you've had to say. And I think we're all on the same page here. It's just, we'll work that out in our committee. And I think Michelle, also, you'll have a lot to contribute as Vice Chair Velasco calls that to order. And with that, I would like to move on. Laura Ruby, if you have a brief comment or question for the managing director.
Yes, yes. Hi, Mike, wherever you are. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Good to see you.
Okay, when you mentioned the ocean safety parcel, you just said in a very matter-of-fact way that we go through an EIS. And that would be a normal course of action in any kind of parcel thing. What I have is you went, your city and county went cart before the horse, and they put out through the hands, HANDS, they put out basically a bid request. And there has been no finalization of any kind of proposal for the bridge over the Alawai Canal, should it ever come to be. And there is no park displacement that was ever chosen or lands condemned or any kind of thing. We have a beautiful grove of trees that are all going to be removed. I mean, I challenge you to find any grove of trees as mature as they are in as nice a spot in a park, and they're all going to be removed. This is a huge spot that they have taken now, this new 394-page HANDS document just takes big chunks of things way out of it. And of course, there's no maintenance or security indicated there at all. And so, like I said, it's the cart before the horse, and the acreage is a very large acreage. And where is it going to be in the neighborhood? I don't, and that's why a long time ago we asked for a full EIS, and you simply, it just was never something that you would honor. Yet you said you would honor something very easily in Kaka'ako to do a full EIS. So I don't know as you can answer all of them, but I sure think that all of them need to be answered before anything goes further forward.
Yeah, board member, I would have to defer to DTS on the Alapono Bridge. They have all the details and they've been working with the federal government on that. And when I say EIS, I hope you understand that to me, that encompasses an EA where appropriate. And so I'm not being very specific. We're not even at that point for the Ocean Safety Headquarters. I don't know whether it would be an EA or an EIS. And I understand your concerns about the bridge. You've made them very clear. And I think Roger Morton in DTS has addressed them. And there's just a disagreement between you and the city. And so I would ask you to please continue to work with DTS. I don't have the information to help you with that.
And I think with that, we probably should ask DTS for an update on the bridge
Yeah, we
situation.
can give you that, Chair.
Yeah, at least, the things that have to be carried through, at least the land swap for the park space. At the very least, that's already written into legislation. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Managing Director. You're welcome back here anytime.
Yeah.
And we appreciate whenever, your department heads come here, and we are excellently served by our Mr. Crucky as our representative for the city. So
I
thank you so
appreciate
much.
that. And I thank you all for your service and for the subcommittee or the committee, the Parks Committee, whatever information you need or testimony will be available. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and yeah, this is an important issue. I mean, Kapiolani Park is, central to our district, and the topics that were brought up here are important, but it looks like the city's operating on some very good faith here to increase the trust lands. But that will be, we'll have a lot more information coming up in the committee, so please look for that. With that, we'll move on to another city project, Department of Transportation Services. This is from the Complete Streets Office for the Oahu Pedestrian Plan Date Street Walkway from Kapahulu to Kapiolani Boulevard. And hi, welcome.
Aloha, Chair and board members. My name is Keelan Bubloff. I'm a planner on the Complete Streets team at DTS with the city and county. I'm also joined online by Renee Espiau, who's our Complete Streets administrator, to help answer any questions at the end. And I'm here tonight to talk about our Date Street Walkways project. Thanks, Curtis. First, yeah, the next slide is good. Thank you. But first, I'll talk a bit about what Complete Streets are and why we do this type of work. So if you can, next slide is good. Thank you, perfect. So Complete Streets is a transportation approach that provides safe facilities for people of all ages and abilities, whether they're walking, using transit, in a wheelchair, riding a bike, or in a car. And this graphic on the bottom right kind of shows an example of what a complete street can look like. This is more of a commercial area or an urban context, but there's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's going to look very different depending on the context of the street and the type of neighborhood and the purpose of that street. And there is actually a Complete Streets law that the city passed back in 2012 that basically says that we shall implement Complete Streets features whenever we touch a transportation facility, whether it's a small scale maintenance project or a larger scale long-term construction project. We must consider and implement Complete Streets as part of that. And some of the reasons why are in these design principles, whether it's for the health and safety of our communities, to provide more equitable neighborhoods across the island, for economic reasons and affordability, to provide more transportation options and choices, and for the sustainability and environmental impacts of it too. Okay, and so to provide a bit of background on our Walkways program, so the city adopted the Oahu Pedestrian Plan back in 2022. And we have now developed a program to design and construct the high priority walkways that are recommended in the pedestrian plan. And so phase one of the program includes projects in 6 different areas across the island, including Waianae, Kalihi, Wahiawa, Waipahu, McCully, and this project on Date Street. And these were identified as the highest priority because of analysis of a bunch of different types of factors, but that includes their proximity to schools, because they are on major streets, their crash history, if there were bus routes on that street, other neighborhood amenities and destinations in the area. And that's how we came to this phase one of 6 projects. And we know that sidewalks have been needed across the island for so long. There's a lot of need, but there has never been funding allocated to build them. And so we're really excited that we've established federal funding as part of this program to help implement this important infrastructure that's been needed for so long. And so to get to the Date Street project, the extent of it, it runs just under 1 mile between Kapahulu and Kapiolani Boulevard. And the main issues that we've seen here are that there are missing sidewalks on the Malco side of the street. They're missing and discontinuous. They appear in certain areas, but not in a lot of others, as well as bikeways on the Mackay side of the street. There's also a need for accessible pathways and enhanced pedestrian crossings. We know this area has, we do have a bike counter out there actually, that's counting bikes on the shared use path every day. And so we saw in 2025, there are about 230 bicyclists on average, on an average weekday. There are also 13 bus stops. The Route 3 runs along here. There are about 150 trips a day. And we saw 920 boardings and alighting. So 920 people getting off and on at these 13 stops. So a lot of bus ridership in the area too. There are also the two schools, Kaimuki High School and Iolani School, with a combined enrollment of about 1,400 students or so. And so some of the safety concerns we see, this slide focuses on crashes. In the area, there were, I believe, 114 total crashes. It's covering it, but the total injuries of those 100 or 140 or so, the injuries were 97. And 91% of crashes that involved pedestrians, bicyclists, mopeds, motorcycles, on this corridor, 91% of the crashes they were involved in resulted in an injury, whereas that was only 53% for motor vehicles. So we know that this population is more vulnerable, and we want to focus on designing safer streets for these vulnerable road users. The map also shows, it's a heat map that shows the concentration of crashes by mode type. And you can see that there are higher concentrations generally at intersections, especially our bigger intersections like Kapiolani, Kapahulu, Mahiai also had 25 crashes. This was between the years 2015 and 2022. So focusing on improving the safety of those intersections is also a big part of this project. Other safety concerns we see are the missing and inaccessible sidewalks, obstructed pathways, like this example near Palani Ave. You can see a parked car on the unimproved sidewalk. This is a big issue across our island, and it's dangerous because it forces the pedestrian into the roadway and moving traffic instead of on the unimproved sidewalk. We also see missing curb ramps. So someone pushing a stroller or in a wheelchair won't be able to get out of the road and in the way of traffic without a ramp or some way to get up and down. So installing those will also be part of this project. And there's a need for safe and accessible routes for all users and modes of transportation. So these two pictures you can see are bicyclists in segments of Date Street where there isn't any bicycle infrastructure, and they are forced into the street or on the sidewalk alongside moving cars. And there's also a need for accessible and comfortable bus stops. So some of the bus stops out there, like this one, is a temporary stop with no seating, there's no shade. Sometimes they're inaccessible too. And that's something we're also going to look to improve. There's a lack of yielding to pedestrians at crosswalks. This picture, we were out there doing a walk audit, and we, I don't know how long it took, maybe at least a minute, I think, for this couple to actually be able to cross the street because cars were speeding, they didn't see them, they couldn't stop in time. And so improving the crosswalk safety is important. And high vehicle speeds, the 85th percentile near Date and Akella was about 38 miles per hour. So that means that 15% of cars were going either 38 miles per hour or more. And we saw about 300 cars going 45 miles per hour or more. And so creating safer streets for all users, there are kind of two different parts of this. One is creating dedicated and protected facilities for non-vehicular travel. So this can come in the form of sidewalks and bike lanes or bike paths so that those users are separated from moving cars. The other is limiting the opportunities for speeding. So we know, you might have seen this graphic before, but we know that if a pedestrian is hit by a vehicle going 20 miles per hour, they have about a 90% chance of survival. Whereas if that same pedestrian is hit by a car going just over double that at 45 miles per hour, their chances of survival is reduced down to 10%. And actually, just to touch on that, again, as an interim improvement, we're actually looking to, before the full build of this project, we're looking to reduce the speed limits on Date Street down from 35 miles per hour in the section that they are 35 down to 25. And as part of this, an ordinance was passed in November to reduce the school speed zones from 25 miles per hour to 20. And so we'll also swap out those school speed limit signs as well down to 20. And so some of the tools that we're looking at using as part of this project, it is predominantly a sidewalk project. So we're looking at installing concrete sidewalks. We are looking to extend the shared use path to widen the sidewalk on the shared use path side to about 8 to 10 feet, depending on the location. We're looking at landscape buffers and potentially planting new trees where they're needed. We are looking to mark crosswalks mainly at the stop controlled locations and intersections along Date Street, not crossing Date Street. Installing curb ramps, as I mentioned, like that example with a nice tactile pad, and bus stop amenities too. We're looking at potentially shelters, seating, garbage cans. Curb extensions help to make pedestrians more visible. They also shorten the distance of crossings. So those are important safety feature at crosswalks, as well as pedestrian refuge islands like this example at Kapahulu and Charles that we just recently upgraded. These help to give pedestrians a chance to cross one direction only at a time. And so these are the concept plans. I will be posting them on our website next week or so for review. But to go through them quickly right now, we are looking, so on the Malka side of the street, in the orange dotted line, you can see we are proposing concrete sidewalks where there are currently gaps. The green dotted line on the Mackay side is shared use path. So right now it's a 6-foot wide sidewalk, so widening that to an 8 to 10-foot sidewalk or multi-use path that both bikes and pedestrians can use and easily pass each other. People can walk side by side. Marked crosswalks and new curb ramps. And then if we move Diamond Head bound, there is the bridge. And so we're looking at a curb extension to widen that section so that the multi-use path is wide enough for people to walk side by side, for bikes to use, and then connecting back to that shared use path that's existing, starting at the golf course. And the orange dotted line on the Malka side is the proposed new sidewalks. These would be about 6 feet wide, new marked crosswalks as well. And over here, we're looking at pedestrian refuge islands at the 2 uncontrolled crosswalk locations to help with visibility, to help slow cars down, and provide a better, safer experience for pedestrians there. And I also wanted to quickly touch on, I know this is outside of this neighborhood board's jurisdiction, but as part of that package of 6 that I mentioned before, one of the projects is the McCully Walkways project, where we're looking to construct missing sidewalks near Washington Middle School and Lunalilo Elementary School on a lot of these neighborhood streets, including Hau'oli, Pumahana, Algaroba, Waiола, Citron, Fern, and a few others. But I wanted to mention this because we do have an upcoming community meeting, February 5th at 6 p.m. at Kaimuki High School. If you go to the next slide, Curtis, all the info's on there. Yeah, so at the community meeting, February 5th, we're going to share the detailed plans, talk about them more. We'll have a workshop session afterwards where we can talk more one-on-one about them. We'll have polling sessions to gather feedback, hear new ideas. So please come, please invite your neighbors, your constituents. And I think with that, I think I only have one more. Yeah, there we go. And this is just our information. We have our website up there, so I'll post those concept plans, as I said, and we're going to notify people about the community meeting. We'll be sending out postcards too. Right now in that timeline, we're in the community outreach and feedback kind of phase of the project. We've already collected data, looked at existing conditions, developed these preliminary design concepts. Now we're looking for the community's feedback so we can refine these design concepts. And with that, thank you very much for your time, and please let me know if you have questions.
Okay, Laura, thank you very much for the presentation.
Yeah, in my neighborhood on Leahi, we have Waikiki Elementary School, and we are sidewalk poor in that area. I see moms pushing double baby buggies, and there's no sidewalk. So please include our neighborhood in your studies and your improvements.
Okay.
Thank
I think we recently added, or within the past couple years, we added the section of Leahi without sidewalk to the pedestrian plan. So it is now in our plans. It will just be next phase or when the repaving comes in.
Okay, and Arlene?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. One thing that comes to my mind when I'm hearing about all the pedestrians and safety issues, I have a question. Do you guys, have you talked about the law in Hawaii right now that says if you're a car turning and you see a pedestrian on the sidewalk, that it's still legal for you to turn in front of that pedestrian if they're less than halfway through the intersection? So my question is, because I learned to drive in California, and distinctly there's a law that prohibits a car from turning if you see a pedestrian about to enter the crosswalk, period. And you can get a ticket for doing what is legal here. And I have seen many close calls where cars will speed up to kind of cut the pedestrian off before they get halfway through. And I would like to see that law changed, and I was wondering if you're aware of that. And that it's been brought up.
Okay. Renee is also online. I'm not sure if she's familiar, but I am not. I
Yeah.
can follow back up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can jump in. There have been it's actually a state legislature issue because the current law that basically allows drivers to go on half of the crosswalk is in Hawaii revised statutes. It's not a city and county ordinance. There have been attempts in the past to change that, and I don't spend a ton of time really following state legislature in too much detail, but it has not passed in past years. So it might be something for the community to share with your state reps, and it's something I can certainly continue to push our state legislator partners on as well. Arlene, I think that's a great one for us to revive.
Thank you. And Laura, did you have another follow-up to what you're saying? You're okay? Okay, and Bruce?
Yeah, my question is, I noticed in your presentation, there was no mention of raised crosswalks. And it was all medial strip type, center type, like you have at in front of Leonard's Bakery. Why is that? Because to me, raised crosswalks work better than those medials.
Yeah, that's good feedback. And so we chose pedestrian refuge islands and curb extensions for their traffic calming features. So they do help to slow traffic, but in a more lateral or horizontal kind of traffic calming way rather than the vertical speed humps, which we usually get a lot more pushback on. But that's good feedback, and I can take back to our engineers too. I don't know, Renee, if you have anything else to add.
I would say we did consider it. We have, a fair amount of buses, and it is an arterial street. So our initial reaction was that they're not necessarily appropriate, but if that's something the community really wants us to consider, this is the perfect time to bring it up and to share with us, and interested in if other folks feel similarly.
Recently, if you drive down Pensacola Street alongside McKinley High School, they have a bunch of raised crosswalks, and it makes everybody slow down. And so it's the same thing they have in front of Kalakaua Intermediate on Kalihi Street. That's been there for years. So you need to really examine that if you really want people to survive crossing the street.
And just as a follow-up to what Bruce is saying, so now is the time for comments. We're obviously giving comments here. Should these be formally submitted online, or do we need to go to that meeting at Kaimuki High School, or what's the process here?
Well, for today, we'll record all of the comments that you make and share it with the project team today. But if you have any more, please feel free to email us. Please feel free to attend the community meeting as well, but we will record everything from today's meeting.
Okay, and I know there's, DTS is always probably, we should just have you guys here every month, honestly. And I know there's going to be people who want to open it up to every DTS problem out there, but if people can try and understand what they're here for today, and then maybe we could have another meeting with DTS about other real serious traffic issues in this area. But I know, Linda, you had a question, comment?
Before we had, the street was 4 lanes. And then we had a guy that was actually had a disability and wanted to get across to the blind place. And so we changed it. We changed the whole street back to 3 lanes for him. Ever since then, the traffic has been mucked up. It's, you can't get back in or you can't get out at certain times of the day, especially because of the parking after 5 o'clock on the right-hand side, the ocean side. People park there before 5 o'clock. And even if they don't get ticketed, they don't get told. And it just messes up the whole thing. You can't get in at 5 o'clock and you can't get out in the morning, being 3 lanes. So I would be a proponent to actually turning it back into 4 lanes. I'm sure, don't believe that's what you have on your paper, but you just can't get in and out anymore. It's like solid traffic all the way from Waikiki School, which has, 320 DTEs, district exceptions. So that's what messes up everything on Leahi, et cetera, 2 times a day. You can't get anywhere. Traffic is frozen on the street with all cars. So we have that there. We have Dade Street. We have, it's all, now you can't, there's no way you can get up to the freeway. We can't go anywhere. And changing Dade Street into 3 lanes, we couldn't, that was our last out. And so now we're just frozen in place. So unless we can remedy that somehow, I don't see how anything's going to be an improvement. I mean, you want to go to the bottom of, what you really have and what you're really talking about. It hasn't worked since we changed it into 3 lanes especially with the parking things. And then I hope you're not planning to put any raised things like the one across from on Kapahulu. That thing is just an accident waiting to be happen. And some people may think, oh, it's their fault if they hit it. Well, no, it's going to be and people are going to get hurt. That's the thing. So I would hate to see anything like that. Maybe, I don't know what Bruce is talking about really, but some consideration. But, it's just like everything, and I'll shut up, but everything is a deterrent to driving.
Okay,
That's what Complete Streets is.
well, there's another viewpoint. And
Yeah.
And also, yeah, but I understand there is a problem on Leahi at certain times of the day. It's traffic design, but it's also enforcement. So, and Andrew, you got to
It's
follow?
having too many I'm sorry
Yeah.
to just talk out like that, but it's having too many, what are you going to say, too many? You've got 320 extra students, extra parents coming to get their kids in the morning and drop them off at night. Traffic is frozen for
It's a
about 2
nightmare.
hours
Yep.
every day.
It's a nightmare
is
that
looking at
we need a
school
better
sizes.
solution for.
Just saying.
Okay, Angie?
Yeah. Thank you for your presentation. Really excited to see it unfold, which does lead to a question about the timeline of when it will be implemented. That's one of my first questions.
Yeah, good question. So it is a federal project, so that means that our timelines are a bit stretched. Right now, we're anticipating design to be finalized in 2028, and then we'll bid it out for construction.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
construction would be like 2029. Okay.
2029, okay. And Chad, you got a
Oh, I
comment?
had another.
Okay, go ahead, Angie.
Yeah, I was just curious, how does Complete Streets works with the other DTS interventions for the crosswalks? Like I know they've been repaving a lot, but I think that's DFM. And then there's also the implementation of the different, I call them the flashies, but the solar panel push buttons. How do you guys work together with that?
Yeah, good question. So those are rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and we just recently, I think beginning of 2025, installed the Date La'au solar powered RFB. And so that was done internally with one of our other staff that deals mostly with those kinds of quick build projects. But we do, Renee can probably speak more to this because she's the administrator that's in charge of all the different departments that are under Complete Streets. But there are 5 different departments that are part of the Complete Streets team. It's the Department of Facility Management, Department of Design and Construction, Planning and Permitting, and Parks and Rec and the Urban Forestry team on the Parks and Rec department. And so we actually have bi-weekly meetings with everyone where we coordinate all the repaving projects, the rehab of streets projects, the status of them. And then there's also a Complete Streets checklist that they all have to go through and make sure that they're considering Complete Streets features when they go through one of these projects. And we help them along the way alongside our engineers too.
Can I ask one more follow-up? Do you have an update on the timeline for the installation of that along Wailea? Because there was about 3 intersections they were going to put the quick builds on.
Yes.
I think that might be a Renee question.
Yeah, Renee.
I'll jump in. Kaylin actually is managing another federal project that we got a discretionary grant we applied for and got to upgrade 50 high injury intersections. And there are a bunch of them along Wailea and Kapahulu in your guys' district. So I think we're still a few years out from most of those. On the good side, I was able to scrape together some pennies to bid out this year an improvement at Wailea and 4th. So we're going to do a quick build pedestrian refuge island there. I don't know if we have one in your guys' district, but we've been putting these around the island. They're similar to the one we did at Leonard's, but instead of being in concrete, it's just using tough curbs. And then we have a bid alternate for another quick build rectangular rapid flashing beacon at that location if I have enough money. So we've advanced that one ahead of the others and should have that one in pretty soon. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. As someone who wakes up to the accidents there, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I wish we could do everything faster, but we hear your guys' concerns. We share the same concerns, and we're trying to find every way we can to get these upgrades out on the street.
Okay, and Chad?
Thanks for your presentation. I'm really stoked about this project. I'm a cyclist. I use that thing a lot to get to work. I like it because it's its own dedicated path. It's not part of the street. Did you guys have anything to do a few years back along Pocky Avenue behind the zoo? It used to be a little asphalt kind of path. It was all broke up by the tree roots and all that. And whoever did that knocked it out of the park. Like, I think Date Street could look very much like that. It's nice and wide. It's cement. The tree roots aren't a problem anymore. They didn't groove it, they cut it. So if you're riding a skateboard or pushing a stroller, it's not like, it's a really nice path. It's landscaped and you're separated from the traffic. I mean, Date Street could be very much an extension of that. So I mean, if you want a good example of who really killed it, that was a good stretch.
That was actually our Department of Design and Construction. As Kaylin mentioned, we are a very closely coordinated team at the city. I think people maybe think we are more bodies than we really are. There's really not that many folks at the city that work on roads. So I worked very closely with the project manager on that. We are. So I will pass on your compliments to them. For Date Street, we did consider whether to upgrade the existing shared use path from asphalt to concrete. That is not currently in the plans, primarily for cost considerations. But if that's something that the community really wants us to consider, we can at least look at costing it out and see how much that would cost to have kind of more of a long-term improvement along the existing path.
Yeah, those routes get pretty wild pretty quick. There's a lot of trees along that pathway, so I'd probably put a hard press for some concrete there. Yeah. One more thing, I just because I like the dedicated paths. I leave Date Street the second I get to Iolani School and follow the path along the creek and then behind the Alawai. Is that you guys as well, or is that someone different?
That's us too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, I'll stop right there, but behind Pocky, behind the zoo, that'd be a great example for what to do with this.
And Daisy?
Okay, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Is this in the ORTP project 2050? I believe the number might be number, what is it? Number 319. OC-31-25 on Date Street. I understand you're going to put sidewalks there. My question is, are you putting in what do you call it? Those protected bicycle lanes too on the street, because it's very congested, like Linda said. Doesn't make sense. The other thing is the pathway on the I guess Mackay side, which is by the golf course, works well because we see a lot of people using it. The one on the Mackay side seems that you do need to have a sidewalk to make it safer for people to walk, because they are facing a lot of
Big empty screen.
roadways there. Also, are you going to? You said you're going to increase the pathway by 8 to 9 feet. Would that be going into the street at all or not? Because it seems to be kind of wide, because right now it seems to be working well with both bicyclists and other pedestrians as is on the Alawai golf course side. So I was just wondering if that's going to happen to the other side. It seems as though there might be some other concerns because, as you know, the buses stop on both sides of the street. It also causes congestion for motorists. They can't always overtake the cars to get through. So those are things you need to be considered too. But I would appreciate if you would let us know whether or not buffered or protected bicycle lanes will also be in this plan in the future, because it makes a lot of difference, because motorists have a difficult time because not all bicyclists obey the traffic laws. So appreciate more input. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Chair, may I ask a question of our neighborhood assistant to please, can you select the people that are talking when they're talking so we can see them? They'll be bigger, right?
Well, there's a little white hand right there, but oh, you mean, can he make them pop up so you see their faces? Some don't show their videos.
Okay, but the ones that do, would you mind doing that? I know you're busy.
It's automatic, right? Okay, so let's try Kendrick. Go ahead. Let's see that you pop up.
Oh, so Renee is blind.
Hi.
then.
I want to commend the city for this. It's beautiful. And as a descendant of my great grandfather who lived in the Date Street area, deep in the thick of it, this is a game changer. I grew up in Kapahulu as well. So I think it's an awesome project. I helped to write a resolution for traffic calming on the Diamond Head Scenic Byway as well. What would be the possibilities of extending it to that area as well? to calm down traffic and reduce accidents and make it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists. Because even for myself, I need help to slow myself down. And I feel like for most human beings, we need physical impediments to slow our cars down. Because if you're rushing to a meeting that you're late for with the mayor, it's just human nature. You're going to drive faster if you have a nice straightaway. So I don't know if you were at the OMPO meeting yesterday. I know Renee was. Were you at where they had that professor from San Diego speak? But that was excellent. And yeah, Complete Streets is great. I'm all for it.
We're a little late in this process to add additional corridors. But we do have, of course, the Raised Crosswalk programmed for you guys that we've been talking about, right? Down at, I don't know, you know where it is better than I do.
Yes.
And then we all, thank you. And then we also have an opportunity, a paving project from the Lighthouse to Kahala. And so we have asked Department of Design and Construction to incorporate speed humps as part of that project. It's, of course, you know, when we follow paving projects, sometimes we don't have like really logical termini. We're kind of following pavement condition. But if that's something that the board supports, that is something that we thought would make sense. That project is still a few years out. So we definitely hope to do the pedestrian crossing first, lower in the hill, and then we will look at traffic calming kind of higher up on that section for sure. And we'll bring that back to you guys when we get closer to that.
Thank you, Renee. That's awesome.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. And Laura?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. As a person who walks the Date Street all the time and lives between the cusp of the neighborhood boards, I would just like to say, that, first of all, the whole of the pedestrian and bike walkway goes all the way around from McCully, all the way around to the stream, across the stream, and all the way around to the Waikiki Library and along Alawai Boulevard. There is only one vehicle crossing at the Waikiki Library. It's an already done one, and the man who said about the bumps from the tree roots is the only problem that needs to be fixed there. Across the street, people do not really walk on the other side. It's a hot street. It doesn't have a cool green space or canopy, and they usually use the cross to get to and from the bus if they're not like the rest of us that walk or bike along that way. The only thing I would suggest, and I've made this before because I know you did a presentation a few years back, but a flyover drop down bridge extension on the Mackay side of Date Street Bridge, which looks just like the one on the Waialae stream, and but make it look almost exactly like the historic bridge. You will need a full EIS for that bridge. Kendrick, you will have your grandfather's name and everything will come very visible at that time. And it would drop in, and that would allow the people and the bikes to go easily across there. They are able to go now, but it'll just give a little bit more width. They're perfectly wide, and they conform to the 6, sometimes 10 feet wide ones. That's why a bridge over the Alawai Canal should only be the 10 feet wide, and they have unfortunately convoluted it into 17 feet wide, which is unacceptable. But I also would say that I also tried to propose this a few years ago, that you have a crossover across State Street, and you have an almost continuous bikeway, pedestrian pathway that goes up to the UH dormitories. There's only a few changes that have to be made there, and I can tell you in another time how to make them without much expense. So I would take the expense that's going for the Mauka sidewalks and take that expense and put it into that full bikeway that goes straight up the other way. And just one other thing, speed bumps, street calming devices are definitely needed on Date Street because it's a speedway. And the other speedway, and I've tried to get it fixed too, is Kuile Waiaka, where there are no sidewalks. And even though they have stop signs, people run through them and go through in a speedway. I asked DOT to put in a raised street, a crosswalk at where Kuhil School is, and I also asked them to put in one where Alawai School is, and they rejected them. Now, why do you reject street crosswalks where school kids cross? It's just unacceptable. So there's a denial of things that are really needed, and people who are in the community really watch by. And by the way, I hate to say it, you've planned Kaimuki High School, but that's not where the people who are going to come to that event are going. They're going to go to Washington Middle School. So you probably should think about fixing something that will be appropriate to the people who live in the neighborhood. Okay, thank you.
Chair. Thank you, Laura. Yes, sir.
We're getting close to about 40 minutes on this.
That's
My
yes.
turn.
You're
Chair,
okay.
we still have a pretty full agenda.
Yeah, if you can be brief, Margaret.
I'll be very brief. Renee, when were the last traffic studies done? The update for Alawai? Because I know the last time we looked at it was 2019. The update on the traffic studies.
You mean volume counts?
Everything, yeah. Well, yeah, the count and the volume and
I
because
don't know right now off the top of my head.
I think it's from Caldwell era and they've never been updated properly. And that's huge. I mean, that's huge. Alawai is so important to so many communities because it's a major thoroughfare. I think you said yourself it was that Kapahulu was an arterial street. But it's an arterial street to the Alawai for everyone to get into Waikiki and bypass Waikiki because there's no other place to get there. You can't go to Harbor, you can't go to the park, you can't go to Ala Moana. You can't get to Kaka'ako because you can't turn left on Kapiolani, and it's going to get even worse now. So we really need to think again about screwing
Thank
around
you.
with that. Oh,
Thank you, Margaret. So maybe we can look at that study and
Yeah.
with that, yeah,
I
we
think
have
it's
spent a lot of time.
2019.
Traffic is always so important for our communities. And of course, it's literally life and death matters that we have a lot of the time. So, yeah, I applaud you for coming here. Thank you for sharing with us. This State Street, as Bruce has mentioned, I will just reiterate, raised crosswalks. That flashing new installation down towards Kapiolani is great. It would be great to have those on Kapahulu too, which is a more dangerous street in many regards, as identified by TTS, as we understand, all the way down to the beach, really. So we look forward to this expanding as well. And anything that you can do to slow down traffic and make our streets safer and calmer. We look forward to the presentation as well as Kaimuki High School. You said can you repeat the date again?
February 5th, so
Okay.
Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much. And with that,
Thank you.
thank you, Renee, as well. We will move on. We have our mayor's representative, Mr. Krucky. Anton Krucky, Department of Community Services Director. Thank you, sir, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Chair, Board. It's glad to be here tonight. I just want to quickly go through a couple items that are in the mayor's newsletter that we are doing. I think one of the highlighting is Kurt Lager was sworn in as the Chief of Ocean Safety. That was a process of an interview process by the new commission. So that starts a new era of how that department operates. The new flood map was issued and takes effect on June 10th. So you might want to look at your property and how that is. Unfortunately, we had a restroom near Kapiolani Community College that was vandalized, and that's always an awful thing because it takes away a facility for use, and then it takes, resources from time for the city to come back and the Parks and Rec to repair that. Construction begins on the Waianae Police Station. That's been long awaited by that community, and there is an article about the transit-oriented housing coming to Kapolei and Kalihi. So everybody, you can get a copy of the mayor's newsletter right here or online. One of the things that came up in our last meeting and that you asked me to do was we talked about the dog park, and you asked if we could get the director to come here, and I believe she's still online. I will tell you she was sick today and left early, and she called me. She was dedicated to be here. She has Jordan Abe with her, as well. So I kind of put her at the front of this so she could talk to you about that issue. So Director, are you on?
I am. Thank you, Anton, so very much. Happy New Year, everybody. I apologize. I'm fighting off a very, very serious cold, but it was important for me to be here. I want to say Happy New Year to Chair and to Margaret and Arlene and Linda and Michelle and all the esteemed board members. It's my honor to be here this evening to share some of the progress that we've made on the corner of the Alawai Golf Course. When the Parks and Recreation returned that piece of land, I immediately called Chair Welch and shared that we did not have the bandwidth to do the dog park. We'd love to support a dog park, but it wouldn't be under the enterprise services. As a reminder, the Department of Enterprise Services runs the 6 municipal golf courses. I oversee the Honolulu Zoo, in addition to all of the auditoriums and the venues, which includes the concert hall, the Waikiki Shell, the Blaisdell Arena, and several other properties, in addition to building services and the concessions. So we weren't able to have the bandwidth for a dog park, but we are excited about the cleanup that we've been able to create and a creative solution to sustain the golf courses. With the explosion of the municipal golf courses success, we are currently almost at 1 million, or excuse me, a 500,000 rounds per year. With that becomes a lot of usage, and which we are proud of that, but we also have sustainability issues. So we talked about a sod farm, which means grass. I think aesthetically, it's a very great idea. And we also believe that it is a green initiative and sustainability. We have to currently, as Kathleen from Board of Water Supply spoke of earlier, we've had a major drought that we've been dealing with as well. And we launched an initiative a couple years ago where kids play free, 7 to 17 years old, that we're very proud of. And so all of that combined just has created a lot of usage and just trying to sustain and give the products that the community are appreciative of. I also want to say that we are proud of the cleanup that we've done in that area, from the homeless signs, the work with Anton's team and Roy's team, and really made it look a lot more not only aesthetically pleasing, but just being able to, help the homeless find the places that they need and the services that they so need as well. So as I said, I reached out to Chair Welch and explained, I know that he was disappointed at the conversation about the dog park. It's just something that the enterprise services, we don't have any kind of bandwidth, knowledge, experience, or a budget to provide. So the grass farm that we are putting forth is starting to shape up. We're looking forward to the grass growing in and servicing all 6 mini courses, not just the Alawai. We also have plans for landscaping and some pleasingly aesthetics and really great choices for making it look really beautiful on that corner. So that's our report from Enterprise Services, and I'm open to any questions that you guys have at this point.
Would you like to continue your report, or should we follow up right now since Dita's,
I think you ought to finish up this section and then I'll go on with my
okay.
report.
Do we have questions
you.
for Director of Enterprise Services, Hollyfield? Yes, Linda.
Yes, I'd just like to thank you for the improvements you did out the Blaisdell. I frequent that quite often, and
Thank
everything is
you.
yeah, it's much better and cleaner, and everybody's happier. It's a good working, I'd like to see the back gate work better, but that's about it. Thank you.
I appreciate that suggestion, and I will take it to building services this next week. Mahalo.
Okay. And I see Margaret, you have a question?
Yeah. I know that you said that we couldn't have a dog park there, but there are so many people with dogs and they're all illegally walking their dogs in the park, around the park. There's it's really bad. What about the archery range? Is that under your purview?
It is not, but I wanted to, so I think actually, Margaret, it was you had reached out in addition to chair. I support a dog park.
Yeah.
That's not anything that I can really do or help with, but I
Yeah.
would support it in any way that I can. So,
There are just so
let
many
me,
dogs and there are no
yeah,
place to walk. These people are all like going crazy from Waikiki. There's nothing in Waikiki, nothing in Diamond Head, nothing in our area. And
So,
it
so
would seem like it was
before you go
perfect.
down that,
Yeah.
down that thing, she can't do anything about dog parks because
Right.
it's not in her department.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just sort of,
It was
but
just
that being
because it was
said,
enterprise
that being
services,
said,
yeah.
that being said, you've asked me to do this and we have Laura Thielen scheduled for the next meeting coming up because
right.
you asked me to
Okay,
bring
good.
these folks forth and that'd be an appropriate time to have that conversation.
Thank
I'm
you.
not giving her a
Yes.
hard time. She knows me.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
she's not. And I told Margaret, anytime that I can steer you guys in the right direction, I'm not against a dog park. I just don't have the ability to do a dog park. So I
Can you do one
appreciate,
thing for me? Can you
yeah,
get Teddy
sure.
Swims back? Get Teddy Swims back. Oh my God, I love
How
it.
terrible was that? I
Thank
think
you.
Teddy Swims sounded like I do tonight.
Thank you, Margaret. And yes, and thank you, Director Hollyfield, for coming tonight. We appreciate it. And
Yes.
we'd love to have you come back even if quarterly and give us updates on the areas that you have here.
Okay.
We have some very important properties. We have 3 of your 4 areas of your Kuleana here. And we understand that this was sort of given to you and you're not opposed to it. So perhaps what we really need to have is a conversation with the city that would be more reflective of the community's needs because I think you're probably just caught between a rock and a hard place. But the fence went up pretty quickly, and it looks like irrigation's going in, so it's perfect for a dog park. Anyway, we can look at that later with Director Thielen, and I hope you feel better. Thank you
you,
for coming
Chair.
tonight. I know it's a lot for you to stay up, so get some rest. Thank you.
Director.
Thank you,
Thank you, Chair.
Director, for having me, and congratulations, District 6. Your major is outstanding, so I was happy to hear about all of that. I look forward to seeing you, Chair. I'll take you up on that, and I'll see you very soon in person. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Dita. I'll continue. Like I mentioned, Laura Thielen is scheduled for on my follow-up from the questions previous. The seawall issue that has been brought up, Brian Gallagher from DPP did do an inspection. He hasn't issued his report yet, so we're waiting for that. But there were follow-on questions about the liability that the city has in regards to these properties. And our corporate counsel answered that with, as a general matter, the high wash of the waves is regulated by the state as conservation district property. And the state claims ownership of all such property, and the city is not liable for injuries or to persons or property caused by the actions, inactions, or the property of private parties. Therefore, as a general rule, the city should not be liable for injuries to persons or property regarding that. So that's sort of the answer to that particular inquiry. There was an inquiry about food truck operations, and that was raised. And, are the food trucks allowed to operate along Diamond Head Road? And DPP says they do not regulate food trucks on the road. DPP does not do inspections on roads. DPP does not hire food can operate on roadside. The Department of Health has some authorizations on food trucks. That's a state. We don't have a Department of Health at the city. Houses on Date Street. The chair raised concerns again about the burned out houses on Date Street and what the city is doing about those houses. And can the city condemn and take ownership of the houses through eminent domain? The responses really were previous in regards to 2734 Date Street. notice of violation was issued previously, and they've had continued violations and the fines are building up. They don't have a condemnation resolution on the docket at this time. We just covered the Alawai. There was actually a question here and previously on the natatorium, and DDC, who is doing the natatorium, they're updating the presentation that was given 6 months ago, and it's supposed to be done at the end of January. When that's done, maybe you and I can converse and see when you want to present that here at the board chair. People living in vehicles. That was a raised concern about a red and white van that had been permanently parked on Pocky Avenue with someone living in the vehicle. And so officers made daily checks of the specific areas that were cited during various times of the day and evening. They issued 6 citations for abandoned vehicles, and expired safety checks are being on the, and they also, one being the red and white van. Officers also attempted to tow a large oversized vehicle. However, the alternate resources are needed to do that, and they're working on that. Officers will continue to monitor the area and take appropriate enforcement actions when violations occur. I would also add to that that the Department of Customer Services does, for vehicles that don't move, will do multiple sightings, and then they have a tow service for abandoned vehicles. And so they can be called as a way. Don't always have to call 911 on that one. That's a very good, and a couple of these are very good uses of the 311 app, because when you make a abandoned vehicle issue into the 311 app, customer service will get it right away, and they'll be obliged to respond to you. Get the new 311 app. Right? This was, I learned from this one, and Vice Chair Velasco, this was about the towing and cash issue. And I was always under the impression that you had to have cash. But effective July 1st of 2024, Hawaii Bill number 1577 requires towing companies to accept payment by the vehicle owner for charges by cash, credit card, or debit card. Complaints can be filed with the Consumer Protection Office if that is not occurring. What residents do if a vehicle is improperly towed? If residents believe that their vehicle was improperly towed, they should file a complaint with the tow company's management. In the event the vehicle owner is unsatisfied with the outcome, a complaint can be made to the Consumer Protection Office. There was a question about can the city improve street lighting in the area along Kapahulu Avenue? And they will be looking at that. I know you talked about the flashing lights. Is that the same kind of lighting you're looking for there, Chair?
On Kapahulu, yes. Yes. Yeah, like what Bruce was talking about, raised crosswalks and or, on-demand crossings with the flashing lights.
So DFM is going to review that with DDC, the lighting, okay? And then what's the procedure in towing vehicles from city-owned parking lots and roadways? And who owns the parking lot south of 614 Kapahulu Avenue? The city towing procedures and contracts under CSD jurisdiction, that's customer service again, same group as the DMV, right? So you please refer to them. The parking lot at 614 Kapahulu Avenue is privately owned, is not a city, not a city lot. That was all the follow-ups that I had this month.
Thank you, Mr. Krupke, and we appreciate your service. Thank you so much for, we're looking forward to another year with you here. And we have a couple questions from our members. Miss Pixie. All right.
He knows my little kid nickname. There's a neat new sign that says "Stop for Pedestrians," and it's appropriate because not all of the cars are stopping. However, I've seen a couple of cars seeing that, and there's no pedestrians, and they stop and go on. So just a comment. I don't know if we could do anything about that.
Yeah. You know,
No, I think I'd like to see one on Leahi.
sure. But I think you got your input in earlier to complete streets.
So,
Thank you.
and no questions online. Are there any other questions for Mr. Crucky? Okay, well, I just cannot think of any. Okay, I'm sure there are, and we will get back to you. We can always email you in the meantime.
Always, I'm very open because I'll do the research throughout the month. So thank you very much. And Curtis and I always did the
Oh,
research on them.
Okay, Curtis says we can also use the HNL 311 app to get a hold of you
Yes, yes, it'll come to me.
or to get a hold of the department.
Yeah.
I see. So that is your department's.
No, so 311 is the city's new one and that new application, and it will sort your question to the correct department. So it's just like a one-stop for you. It's very good for complaints. These situations that,
This
you know,
meeting is
are,
being transcribed and summarized.
are inappropriate. Now, if it's a dangerous situation, call 911. That's not for this, right? But, you know, you can report homeless encampments if you want. You can, anything you see, it will take it and we'll sort it to the city departments and we're monitored on being able to get back to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. Okay, and with that, we will move on to Councilmember Waters off. So just as a time check, it is about 8 o'clock. And we have Councilmember Waters, someone from Councilmember Waters' office.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, good evening, Chair. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Tasha Luke from Council Chair Tommy Waters' office. I hope everybody had a wonderful and restful holidays. We have a few updates that our office has been working on. We received several constituent concerns regarding delivery trucks blocking Mo'oheao Street near Starbucks. That's blocking the right-of-way of drivers and creating a safety hazard. HPD says it will work with the delivery company to find alternative locations for the vehicles to park. Chair Waters also wrote a letter to Starbucks corporate asking them to review operations and identify solutions. In the meantime, because this involves an active traffic or parking issue occurring in real time, HPD urges the public to call 911 so an officer can be dispatched to evaluate the situation. Another constituent reported the pedestrian cross signal at the intersection of Kilway Avenue and Campbell Avenue is inoperable. We submitted a riser to the mayor's office asking them to address the matter. Regarding the question of the $100,000 for Kualei Cliffs, following a site visit in October and an internal review, DPR proposes to install a new HECO meter and electrical service, install a new pump station, and replace a backflow pressure unit. This proposed timeline will be determined on HECO's permitting of the meter. And lastly, Bill 76, introduced by Chair Waters and Budget Chair Val Okimoto, would require the Director of Budget and Fiscal Services to develop, maintain, and publicly post a searchable online database of city revenues and expenditures. The database would be free, open to the public, updated at least monthly, and accessible through an open checkbook-style web-based system. Bill 76 is scheduled to be heard by the Budget Committee next week, Tuesday. Information on how to submit testimony is available on the City Council website. And with that, I'm happy to take back any questions or concerns to Chair Waters.
Thank you very much, Ms. Luke. We do have a couple questions for you, starting with Linda.
Thank you. And thank you for mentioning that about the budget and I imagine it's to fix the area at Kualei Cliffs. You said you gave a lot of information. I was wondering if you could send that to me in an email.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send that along right after this.
Okay, so I would appreciate. Do you have my email address?
I do.
Okay, good. All right, I would appreciate that. Mahalo.
Will do.
And other questions for Tommy Waters' office?
Yes, this is Arlene. In light of what's happening on our federal level right now, especially in the state of Minnesota today and yesterday, I'd like to request that our city council and mayor let us know, their constituents know what their plan is if we start having people, ICE agents roaming our streets.
Okay, I'll pass that along to Chair Waters.
And if there's none others online, yeah, I would be interested in maybe we could have a meeting with Tommy about if, Parks doesn't have the resources to take over the area that was just mentioned earlier for the dog park area, the entrance to Alawai. If there's some impediment there that perhaps we could work with the council member on that. And another topic that came up with another person I was talking about is, a lot of the times development just will pop up. We don't know about it in advance. We're not told anything. It seems like it might not be the worst thing to have a requirement for developers, anything over 25 feet, for example, in our area, that they must come before the relevant neighborhood boards and give a presentation well in advance while they're still in the planning stage of whatever building or project that is being thought of. It's sort of geared towards private development, but also could include public development as well. So a couple, prongs there as far as, how do we actively engage these boards in their roles to advise various levels of government. And that's one that really especially strikes you. Instead of being reactive, we're in a position to actually give some considered input. So perhaps that's something we could work on with Chair Waters as the year progresses.
Okay, sounds good. I'll let him know.
Okay, and with that, we thank you very much and look forward to working with this year, Ms. Luke. So thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Night. Okay, and next we have from Councilmember Nishimoto's office. I did see.
Hello,
so
hi Chair
Kylie's there.
Welch, hi board
Kylie.
members, hi everyone. Just wanted to say Happy New Year from Councilmember Nishimoto's office. As always, if there's any questions or concerns for St. Louis Heights, I'm happy to take them back to council member. I'm gonna leave our contact info in the chat if anyone would like to contact us. Thank you.
The questions for Councilmember Nishimoto's office. Yes, Linda.
Just quickly, if he's putting out a newsletter, can we get it at our meeting?
Yeah, we do a weekly e-blast. I'll get that link for you and I will add that into the chat.
We have a question for Laura.
Yes, just one quick question. On Kalaimoku Street, there are a number of vacant lots, number of properties that have for a long time had no housing on them at all. Could your office please find out who the current owners are of the property and what might be intended for that? TMKs will just give you an older name. They won't give you the current names, but if you can do it for whatever in the county offices, they'll have the current owners of the property. That would be very helpful. There's also some people that live over there that had wanted to have vegetable gardens, no matter how temporary, on places that were open like that for a long time also, but they would have to do something special to get permission, I'm sure. But it's mainly why are those large parcels open and with no activity seemed going on? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. I think this might be in Council Chair Waters' office, but I can definitely double check that for you, and we'll get to the bottom of it. If it's not in District 4, we can definitely help you out with that. But I believe that could be in District 4.
Well, Rep. Nishimoto's in my district. I'm in his district. How does
Oh
that
yeah,
make
we're happy to work with Council Chair Waters.
No, but
on this.
I'm in council members Nishimoto's district. So
Oh
I'm
yes,
saying-
we
Okay.
understand. Yeah,
That's why
we
I'm
can
asking.
work with both. It just if the area's in one district, but we can work together to get it resolved. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Kylie, could you just briefly outline where Councilmember Nishimoto's district is overlaid on top of our neighborhood board 5?
Yeah, we from Palolo all the way up to Ward Avenue. I don't know I'll have to look at the map to get the exact borders, but for this board, we just cover St. Louis Heights.
St. Louis Heights and also would Waialae be in your jurisdiction?
I think there might be a small part of it on one side of the street, but it's mainly just the St. Louis Heights area.
I see. Okay, and probably I think Curtis is going to pull up a map for us for
Yeah, thank you, Curtis.
be a little bit if you follow the boundary lines directly in the description.
Yeah, it gets a little tricky like on some of the streets.
Yeah, and okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for coming, and we look forward to working with you this year.
Okay.
So
Thank you. And Laura, we'll get back to you about that street. Thank you.
Okay, and Curtis has pulled it up. It is Palolo on Waialae all the way west that run.
Okay.
Maoka of Waialae. Maoka of Waialae. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. With that, we will, did we have any representative from Brian Schatz or Mazie Hirono's office? Or Ed Case's office? Okay. We do have Ryan Aguilar online, I see, for Governor
Hello,
Josh
Chair. Good
Green.
evening.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Chair and board members. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. I will put in the chat a link to the governor's newsletter for January. And I wanted to, and I'll also put responses to the questions from the previous meeting, and also go over a little bit of that as well. There's a question about potential healthcare with the subsidies potentially skyrocketing. What plans are there to help the state deal with different health issues? And so Governor Green allocated $16.5 million in his proposed 2026 state budget to protect Hawaii families from a looming, national healthcare disaster that threatens to strip insurance coverage from thousands of people here in Hawaii, and expiration of the Affordable Care Act's enhanced premium tax credits, at the end, that happened at the end of 2025. So that 16.5 million in the budget will cover a portion of the enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies that the federal government previously provided for those purchasing ACA insurance plans to keep coverage affordable for families, seniors, and children. The health insurance marketplace is currently in open enrollment, and through January 15th of this year, consumers can shop for and compare a combined 34 medical and dental plans available on healthcare.gov. Health insurance marketplace plans cover, comprehensive range of services, which include, outpatient care, hospitalization, emergency services, and prescription drugs. So for additional assistance, the Hawaii Department of Human Services Community Partners are also working to assist the public with understanding the health insurance marketplace. And there's a link that I'll provide also in the chat. And the governor also recently announced that Hawaii has been awarded more than $188 million to transform rural healthcare across the state. And that award will help modernize and improve healthcare delivery in rural and neighbor island communities for quality primary care, behavioral health services, and emergency treatment. There was a press release that the governor's office put out on that, and I will have a link to that news release. And then there was another question about immigration and customs enforcement, detainees here on Oahu. And the response for that is, the Federal Detention Center in Honolulu it's a federal facility, and it's not run by the state of Hawaii. And so federal elected officials have oversight authority over, federal agencies and can make announced or unannounced visits at any time. But state officials don't have that level of access or authority over those federal facilities. So, the governor's office will continue to work with the congressional delegation to support respect for humane treatment, due process, and constitutional protections for everyone. And that's it. And I'm happy to take any questions back to governor's office at this time. Thank you.
You, sir. We have a couple questions.
I just wanted to comment quickly that I applaud the governor for, it's a little bit late, but when he offered the tourism services to resign in mass, it was a very good, bold, and swift action that I wish more of our services in the state were to operate like that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Arlene?
Yes, my question is regarding the CDC new guidelines for immunizations. And I know that, of course, Governor Green is a physician, and I was wondering if the state plans on taking action to enact some state laws to help protect, the guidelines that we had before the change.
Okay, are there any other questions for Mr. Aguilar? Okay, if not, sir, we thank you very much and look forward to working with you this year.
Thank you.
Okay, next we got Senator Stanley Chang's office and online.
Oh, hello. Hi, Happy New Year, everyone. My name's Casey. I'm the committee clerk at Senator Stanley Chang's office. I'm just going to mention some things in our newsletter. We have a housing preview next week, January 21st, Wednesday at 10 a.m. It's open to the public, room 225 at the state capitol. If you would like to attend via Zoom, you can look at our newsletter. I'll put that in the chat, and you can RSVP on the link. Other news, good news for Wilson Elementary School. They were recognized as a Blue Ribbon School. Again, you can check out for more information in our newsletter. And then finally, there's a petition out to preserve and maintain the Jameis Building and trees at 6660 Hawaii Kai Drive and adjoining properties. So if you would like more information on how to sign that petition, or more information on what it's about, you can check out our newsletter, which I will post the information in the chat. And I am glad to take back any questions you have for Senator Chang.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions for Senator Chang's office?
Yes, earlier tonight, we were given a presentation on safe streets, and I asked a question about this, a law, and I was told it's a state law that that allows drivers to drive in front of pedestrians if they're less than halfway through the intersection.
Yeah.
And I was told that it's a state law and that bills have been killed in our state legislature that have tried to change this. And I was wondering if all our state senators and representatives can look at that and see if we can try to get that changed. We had so many pedestrian deaths last year, and I really think changing that law would help greatly.
Okay. Yes, I'll take that back to the senator, and then we'll see what we can do. Yeah. Any other questions?
I do not see online or in person, so thank you very much. We look forward to working with you this year.
Okay. Thank you so much. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you. And next, just as a time check, it's about 8:15. We have Senator Lasihar in person. So welcome, Senator, and Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, all of you. 2026. As you know, I'm the majority policy leader in the Senate. I do mostly focus on conference committees and having the best result come out of conference committees. I work with leadership on both sides, and on two committees, although they're the least workload committees, in order to free myself up to do the work I do. And so anyway, that's my role. I can mention, that we're starting on January 21st, the first Wednesday. In the Senate, we're not having anyone on the floor. It's a work day. We're keeping lunches and, well, it depends on the senator, but it's a work day and we're treating it as that. After election year, then we have an opening of the legislature. It's a 2-year term. We're the 33rd legislature of the state of Hawaii since statehood. I'll give you some example about what I'm working on. Well, affordable housing. And basically, it's a marketplace and it's treated as a marketplace. Houses are investments. But in Hawaii, we have a connection to our homes and we have a deeper sense of belonging to this place. This is one of the few states that do not have a line with a boundary. It's all natural features. And so we live in the middle of the Pacific and on these islands. And for belonging, from a belonging point of view, we want to give people a choice to leave, but not forced to leave. And they are now forced to leave because the average price homes are not affordable by the average workforce rate income. The salaries are not enough. It may be enough for people who have inheritance. They've already doubled up in families, so it's now hitting the breaking point because for the last 10 years, people have been doubling up on homes and jobs and all of that, and it's basically breaking open. And we found out for the first time with the 2020 census that Native Hawaiians are forced to leave their homeland. Now, if that isn't something that's imbalanced, then so anyway, so and especially among Hawaiians, especially about people here, is we have a connection to our this land. Another project I'm working on is the Alawai Watershed Project, and that is a direct connection because we have lost our connection to land. And so the Alawai Project is really about having the community experience its relationship to the land. It's been severed. And you can keep that relationship even if you put a canal. Forms can change, but the relationship can stay the same. But when the forms change, the relationship changed. So it's really about going back to the relationship, even if the forms change. So we can still belong in this ahupua'a, even with the canal, even with in the urban life. Another is campaign finance reform. It's really connecting the community with the legislators. There's a rupture in the relationship between the two. And so that's another, and there's others. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi. And if I'm not here, we'll be at the Capitol if I'm, and I have staff and you can always call or, email and so forth. But I try to be as much as possible, but if it's during the session, if I'm not here, you know where I am.
Thank you, Senator. And we have a couple questions. Linda?
Yes, thank you. And I was wondering if, and thank you for keep coming. And I remember when all the legislators used to come and tell us what was happening everywhere. And it was such a good learning. It was so good. It gives a good foundation. Did you work out something with Side Street Inn about what we talked about last month?
I'm sorry, I was reading something, so I missed what he said. Did he?
Oh, Side Street Inn last month?
What did Anton say? Did he say something?
I don't recall that he did. He did? Oh, okay.
Anton said that parking lot
Yes.
is privately owned. So the city doesn't own it.
Okay.
They have,
So there's no recourse?
Well, that's
Other
the
than-
parking lot next to Cider Street. The
yeah,
building.
next to.
I have gone through my files.
Yes, that's what I
And
was after.
I recall now, at my age, my memory's getting worse, but Senator Kobayashi, Bert Kobayashi, was a senator in this area. And I was in the house and he showed me, he told me that there were, and I had the lease agreement because it was, I think, Crown lands. It was, these were all state lands. And in fact, Oliver Golf Course was executive order to the city. And so the Hawaiian Dredging was an ally of Governor Burns. And they, it was a little controversial because you're taking land. And so one of the provisions was that, and I haven't found it yet, so I'm still finding. And if once we can find that document, we'll show it to you. And it might have even been amended. So I'm not sure how long these conditions last. But at the time, they were required to, after hours, let the public park there underground. And now it might have changed because now you have a night, right? That was a office bit. So with the change, then I could see them possibly modifying that agreement 60 years later because they use the parking lot underneath. Although there are people a lot of people park at that parking lot to go over. So I guess that's the question. Does anyone know, can you park underneath the building if you go to Side Street Inn?
I think it's only a certain
I think Bill
classification.
G.
Yeah, we can park under the building for Side Street Inn, but it's valet most of the time.
Oh,
Ballet.
yeah.
That's
So,
what it was.
yeah, but if you're next door, you got to pay. So. Well,
But
think-
didn't Senator Nishimoto have partly to do with that?
No, he
wasn't?
and I worked on making sure that the parking lot, we would have meetings, remember? We would make sure the parking lot was attuned to the community's needs and concerns. And it was an ingress and egress and what's going to happen there. And eventually the community felt like it's a plus. And I think it's still a plus. But back then, you don't, it was a private property and we didn't know what they were going to do. So, but they had to have DLNR permit. So that's why I think we were involved, is we were wanting to have DLNR get the permit only if it helps the community.
Thank you. And Margaret, you got a question for the senator?
Yeah, I think we would free up a lot of homes if we could get rid of the capital gains tax at $250,000 that doesn't reset until somebody dies. That's why all these old people are hanging on to their houses. Because if their kids get it, the tax resets when the parent dies. But until then, they're-
Margaret, we can't
Yeah,
understand
okay.
you clearly. So
Oh,
I don't.
okay. Never mind, just talking about capital gains tax.
Okay,
Can you hear me now?
maybe no, we can't.
Okay.
Maybe you could contact the senator separately under
Okay.
email.
Not
Yeah,
a
or type it.
problem.
Okay,
A text message.
thank you very much. And I think Bruce has a question
and
for
maybe
you.
other legislators that might have the same.
Yep.
First of all, thank you for coming in person. But I have a question about, like property taxes just keep on going up because it's all based on the assessment price of our properties, and the prices of properties keep rising. So eventually, everybody here will be forced out because we can't compete with the outside money that comes into the state. But the city is under pressure because they can't participate in the general excise tax. So they have no choice but to tax all of us that live on properties. And so the state has control because I've heard that 53% of the general excise tax, 53% makes up, all of that general excise tax makes up 53% of the state's budget. That's what I was told from a tax expert. And so if we were to increase the general excise tax by 1% and give it to the counties, then they wouldn't be so pressured to tax us out of our properties. But that's up to the state and the
I was at the
representatives.
State Constitutional Convention, and we passed the constitutional amendment to give the counties exclusive. They did not have real property tax control before that. The state controlled everything. And the CONCON, we had a big battle, and Joe Suki was fighting for their property tax, and I backed it, and a bunch of us, to give the county, because it was taking power from the state. And so we had to wrestle it away. And so we put it, and it was passed. So the county has exclusive control over the real property tax. And we have one of the lowest property tax in the nation. And the reason it's the lowest is because there's no municipal courts. Usually it's municipal courts, municipal prisons or jails. You have school systems that are generally county or local level. And municipal hospitals, we don't have municipal hospitals, they're all state. So much of the big burden, especially schools, are all handled by the state. And so the counties, so you're, I guess, concerned that maybe the real property tax is too high. And so that we should maybe look at. And that's a county matter.
Okay, and yeah, and it's maybe something we could take up in your property tax committee, Bruce, because I know we've got a number of other representatives here tonight and things to go through. And Angie, you got a quick question?
Yeah, I have a quick question. The best way to contact you, I guess my question is, are you still taking considerations for potential bills to introduce? And if yes, what's the best way to contact you?
586-6250, or actually let's see.
Talk to him.
Chief of staff now, Mike McCartney, so I think it's M McCartney at capital.hawaii.gov.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna ask him for your number.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you can also email. That way it's easier. We can then print it out and follow up and track it. And then the more you put down, we can also send it to the drafting agency. The deadline is January 28th, a week after the opening day.
Okay, and thank you again so much for coming tonight, Senator. Yeah, and thanks for your service for our community. That we have, I don't think anyone from Carol Fukunok's office is here online, but Representative Grandinetti, I think, is online. I see our office. Yep.
Hello. Happy New Year, everyone. My office is in full steam ahead mode, getting ready for session. I will be this year Vice Chair of Consumer Protection and a member of the committees on housing and transportation. And as a transportation committee member, I just want to thank the Complete Streets team for their presentation today. I live just off of Date Street. I'm so excited about those upgrades, and you all know that road safety is really important to me, and I'm really excited that we have something to look forward to in that area. And I guess the main update that I wanted to share is that I have a new office manager, Emily Cristobal. She recently moved on to the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization. And now my new office manager, who joined just a few weeks ago, is Erin Enriquez. She's doing an amazing job getting settled in. She's onboarding our session staff. And she'll also be leading on our constituent concerns. So if you give my office a call or email us, you will likely speak to Erin first. And she is actually on the call today. So I'm going to pass it over to her very quickly to introduce herself. Oh, Erin. Maybe she stepped away. Bad timing.
You there, Erin? I see your name.
I told her I'd give her a heads up and I forgot. Well, anyways, I will tell you a little bit about our other session staff. We have Kate Tracy, who's joining us. She has a background in sustainable energy policy, working with public utilities to make, she says she's having computer issues. She Kate's experience is in working to make sure that public utilities are serving ratepayers. And she's worked mostly on the continent. She's lived here the last few years, and she's really excited to learn. And then we have Ian Murakami, who is our committee clerk. And Ian is a lifelong resident of District 20. So I'm really excited to have his expertise on our neighborhoods. And then Erin, is it working now? I think she just unmuted.
And if not, well, we can look forward to meeting her next month.
Definitely. Okay. And available for any questions if you have them.
Any questions for Representative Grandinetti? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I don't know if you were listening previously to the presentation to the street presentation, and I was wondering if you would be interested in sponsoring or resurrecting a bill to change the law regarding pedestrian crossings on the street.
I don't have, so my bill package is fully committed at the moment. We have just 10 we have a 10 bill limit this session, but I am definitely willing to work with you on that over the interim. I agree that it's really dangerous, and we are at a public health crisis level with our road fatalities. So I would be happy to talk with you over the interim.
And I think you can work with our senators. They get unlimited introductions and then it goes over to the House. So that may be another vehicle. Okay, well, thank you so much for your excellent service for our community, Representative Grandinetti. We look forward to seeing you this year. Thank you. And I see we have Representative Sayama. So thank you so much for coming here, sir, and welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Chair, members of the board, members of the public. It's great to be here in person. As Senator mentioned, we have our start of the legislative session on January 21st. This year, much like last year, I'll be chairing the House Labor Committee, as well as I'll be a member of the Culture Arts Committee, Higher Education Committee, and Education Committee. So total of 4 committees. My primary focus will be, however, on labor issues, as workforce development continues to be a primary focus for the House. Specifically, I'll be introducing legislation on matters of expanding the Hawaii Healthcare Preceptor Tax Credit. This is an effort to strengthen and improve our workforce pipeline, specifically for healthcare professionals. This will expand the qualifications for a preceptor beyond a primary care physician to specialty care, as well as nurse practitioners. So again, this is an effort to increase the number of healthcare practitioners to address the shortages there. We also are thinking of implementing a tax incentive. So creating a tax credit for an apprenticeship programs. Apprenticeship programs primarily affect those in the trade unions. A lot of times these jobs in the trade can pay better than what you could find after a 4-year degree in university. So not everyone goes to university after graduating high school. So we want to encourage those apprenticeship programs to grow here so that we can maintain that local talent in home. Also be addressing some more local issues in the community. I think every single year I've introduced some sort of feral chicken bill. This year, because money is a little tight on the budget, we are changing the feral chicken bill a little bit. We've realized that in Hawaii revised statutes that feral chickens have a slight protections as it is currently categorized. So we are trying to change that category so that it is much easier for the city and state to exterminate feral chicken populations, especially in our district up on St. Louis Heights. I have a few chickens in my yard every morning waking me up. So we'll hopefully be addressing those issues as well as many other things. And yes, I am a House member, so I'm limited, but I think I might have 1 or 2 slots available. So we could take a look into that law that was mentioned earlier about driving halfway onto the sidewalk. That's quite a strange crosswalk. Okay, I'll take a look into that. Thank you so much. With that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. That's great news. So are there questions for the representative? I think, yes, Angie.
Yeah, I thank you for coming. Quick question. I believe the senator said that on the Senate side, it's going to be more of a closed door on opening day. Is that the same for the House?
Yeah, typically, the second year, it's not as festive. It's not necessarily a closed door, but you don't have the usual guests that are on the floor of the chamber, so it's a little different.
So it's a no mochi malasada day.
Always.
Okay. Say it again. There is still, yeah. Okay. Well, public is always welcome in your office.
Yes.
Anytime. Okay. Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming, sir, and for the service you do for our community.
Thank you.
And I think you'll be hearing from Arlene about that.
Very good.
Okay. And I think we have Representative Olds on the online. Is that true, sir? I see you there.
Happy New Year, everybody. I hope we all lost 15 pounds over the winter break, so ready for that beach body in the summer. Pulling up the rear here, so I'll just kind of move into it. So over the holiday, I canvassed the precinct 1, which is my Kapahulu precinct. So if I missed you or you didn't see anything on your door, please call my office because you are not on my voter list. That way I can come by and catch you the next time I come around through Kapahulu. Also something that has spawned is I tend to do homeless outreach at least once a week, and I was in the Kapahulu area on the 5th. It's part of me kind of keeping my ear to the ground on what's going on in the community outside of what constituents tell me. So I go around to our houseless constituents and talk story with them, offer services, and try to see if we can scratch each other's backs a little bit. We are full steam ahead. I have my staff all good to go. This year, most of my bills are homeless related bills. Some are related to public safety, some related to education, and some are related to housing support. And then we have one that could be looking at protecting condo and or association homeowners and giving them more rights and protections, but we aren't sure if we're going to be pursuing it. In terms of the pedestrian statute, so that would be HRS 291C is in Charlie -72. I think we definitely need to just as a society, I think we need to kind of have a good conversation with ourselves. And everyone's got to drive with aloha, you have to walk with aloha, but you also have to drive and walk with situational awareness. Just today, driving on surface streets, I saw 5 people entering a crosswalk after the no crossing hand has already started on their phones. So 2 tickets, but I don't know how often these things are being cited. And also with drivers, we have to be a lot more compassionate. We have the heavy moving vehicle that can end life. So I think it's just, we all need to kind of be more aware. And in terms of introducing legislation to protect pedestrians further, kind of mimicking Tina, I'm open to it. I mean, we need to stop losing life on the street, but I think we have to find a good champion that can be able to push the legislation through. That also has the capacity right now, because I think for most people, most of our bills have been drafted, and because we only have 10 this session, it's a little bit harder to kind of put something in at this moment in January. But I'll take any questions or comments, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Do we have questions for Representative Olds? I do not see any online, but I know also you're available for us as well as a dedicated public servant. So we will refer people to your website and be able to drop by your office as well if they need some constituent services. So thank you very much for sticking around and always for your service. Okay, and with that, we're just about 8:40 here. So this is we have Andrew Garrett, and I don't think Andrew Garrett is online. Someone? Nope. Okay, then our public and community concerns open forum. Now, the reason why we did switch this later is because most of the questions end up being answered by the mayor's rep and everybody else. So if there are some public concerns, then we've got a couple minutes for each person, and we have someone here who would like to give a concern. So go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. I am here because my heart still goes out to those who are living underneath these cell towers every day and suffering potentially in silence, from different health complaints due to these cell towers. So basically, the radiation has increased since 2019 because the 5G cell towers are spaced closer together. So that's my major concern. If we want to go to the next slide. So there are scientific studies that link cell towers to health harm. Some of the health issues that come up are headaches, concentration difficulties, memory changes, people call it brain fog, dizziness, tremors, depressive symptoms, fatigue, and sleep disturbances with increased incidences of cancer. This is really concerning to me, given the extreme number of cell towers that we've seen go up in recent years. If we want to go to the next slide. There also are concerns about tree damage from cell towers. So this study shows how trees can be affected on one side that is closest to the transmitter or closest to the cell tower. But in some cases, the entire tree is affected. This study wasn't put together here, but I think that given the number of cell towers we have in the state, this study still holds relevance. So if we can go into the next slide, we can see another tree that has that spatially inhomogeneous tree damage. And so this is the kind of pattern that you see with damage from cell towers. There's another tree here. As you can see, on that other slide. As you can see here, the tree is losing leaves. And that to me is really concerning because if trees are losing leaves, how could human beings not be impacted? And so, part of the tree looks okay, but then the other part of the tree does not look so okay. And so, diving deeper into this kind of study, you'll see at first it'll look like this, but then at some point the entire tree could lose leaves. And I love all of our big, beautiful trees, and I just don't want to see them suffer. And I have noticed that there are a lot of trees in Honolulu that seem to not be doing that well lately. I saw a new one at Thomas Park that it was a magnificent tree. I mean, that tree looked at least 80 years old, but completely decimated. So I think we have to look at the impact of cell towers on the immunity of trees. So, I'm not against all cell towers, but 5G is quite different than 4G. And if we go into the next slide, we can see the difference between the frequencies. So 4G, the primary frequencies are below 6 gigahertz. And then for 5G, it's greater than 6 gigahertz and higher. And then it goes to the 24 to 52 gigahertz range.
And I hate to cut you off, but we are running out of time and we just have a few minutes for each community concern. And
Yeah.
your topic deserves much more time. So I wonder if we might have an environmental committee to meet on this, or if you could maybe have a public meeting there where we could outside of this forum. And have you thought about that?
Yeah. Or you
Sure.
can also get scheduled on a future neighborhood board meeting. So you'll be further ahead on the schedule as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess maybe one question I would have is how likely is it that we would be willing to put together a resolution? I think that would be the main goal of any kind of future meetings would be a resolution by the neighborhood board just saying, we're concerned about the number of cell towers and we want to keep our power. So I don't know if that would be a question for the neighborhood board or if that would be something that would be further discussed in committee.
I think it should probably go to a committee meeting first, which we have our environment committee with Vice Chair Velasco. So maybe
okay.
that's something that we could look at further because it deserves way more time than we can spend on it now.
Okay.
So Angie?
Yeah.
Familiar with the
No.
process, but
Yeah. So it can go to committee. We can do a more in-depth presentation.
Okay.
And at that committee too, I think it would be helpful to have a map where all the towers are.
Okay,
If they
yeah.
are in such a density, it would be a great opportunity to see that visually. And then
Mhm.
the committee can issue recommendations such as a resolution.
Okay,
can-
I see. And so,
And I would like to, contact some local scientists who are much more knowledgeable about this. I'm
okay.
sure UH has somebody we can invite.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Maybe you can
Mhm.
contact Vice Chair Velasco about that, and then we'll follow up as far as, having a committee meeting and some more testimony on this because it's, like I said, we just don't have enough
Yeah,
time to
really
really
makes
get
sense. I
into
know
it.
there was a lot of presentations. So, okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you.
We really appreciate you coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And this information is in the Google Drive, isn't it? So the rest of the presentation is in the Google Drive, and even you could film yourself and upload something in there too that people could refer to as well.
Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, are there other folks for any community concerns? We've got a few more board business items. So we do not have the board, if there's no other folks online with any community concerns, we have board meeting minutes we don't have the ones approved from December 11th. I know that. So we only have the ones from November 13th. I don't know if folks have had a chance to look at that, but if so, I would entertain a motion to accept those board meeting minutes as they were deposited in our Google Drive.
I'll motion to approve the meeting minutes as corrected in the Google
Yes,
Drive for the
right.
November 13th meeting. This is Angie Knight.
We need a second.
I'll second.
Can we do an is there any objection to accepting the minutes as they have been presented in the corrected minutes online?
May I ask a question? Have they been revamped like the other ones were?
Yes, Michelle went over them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if there are no objections, then do we have enough folks to accept those? Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. We've got 8 here. Margaret and Kendrick, are you okay with accepting these? And Samuel?
I am.
That's a Margaret. And Samuel says aye, and okay, that would be okay, that's 10 aye and no no's and no. Okay, is that Kendrick said yes to? Okay, that's 10 in favor and then no no's and no abstentions. Okay, very good. Thank you, everyone. We have another committee report and resolution. Yes, and you want to take it away for us?
PowerPoint slide for you guys, but we'll run right through it. I've been in contact with these guys who are redesigning our airspace, and they're actually pretty responsive. So I think this is a really great opportunity. We got a lot of time. Things are just like timing. They're going to do it now. We're active now. So I think this will be a very cool thing. You got my presentation there, Chris? Okay. So if you'll look at that, and all of you guys can get this. This is all through a little app called Flight Aware. You can download it. It's free. It's fun to play with. I just screenshotted this on my phone. So this is kind of what it looked, and that blue dot, of course, is where we pretty much are. And this is just when the airport is in like normal flow, right? Because the wind changes and all that, and they shift things up. But this is about what it looks like 95% of the time, okay? Curtis, you want to hit the next slide and we'll zoom out a little bit. Okay. I think you can see it's pretty congested there. Go ahead and zoom out one more time, Curtis. Next slide. Okay. It's starting to look like we're under attack at this point. If you'll go back to that Yeah, that slide right there. And you can see there's almost like highways in the skies, right? I think we all assumed this, but we just don't really know what the names of them are and where the problem spots are. So this is what I've been talking with the FAA guys about. So let's go to the next one, Curtis. Thank you. That's the app that I'm getting all this from, the Flight Aware on the right. It's really great. Download that, play with it. You'll learn a lot. So these are the two major in and outbound flight paths when H&L is operating in like its normal configuration, okay? That blue line you'll see, that is pretty much all the mainland traffic coming in from the West Coast and wherever, but it flies. Can you see Diamond Head there in the bottom right? This is in, I've labeled it along down there in blue. This is and forgive me, they've only emailed me this. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm going to call it Magi 3. Okay, this is the Magi 3 arrival there. And pretty much all those planes you saw stacked up in the sky, they're flying right over Diamond Head there. They come around and then they land from the west. Okay, so that's inbound from the mainland. Okay, and then just about any flight that's outbound towards the mainland or points east. First, you'll see they leave the airport, they head south, and I'm assuming this is to avoid a lot of the populated areas, but after a little bit, they get a bit lazy and they'll start drifting northwards and they'll fly right over Diamond Head too. So you can see we're kind of right there in the crosshairs of the two biggest in and outbound flight paths, right? Curtis, can you take me to the next slide there? There's even another flight path. This one might affect, all these flight paths affect a lot of our neighbor boards and all that, but this one that St. Louis and anyone along the H1 freeway or Kaneohe Highway might be concerned about. This is a lot of the small propeller planes follow this in and out, and there's a lot of like joyriding planes and helicopters that will follow this too. This is called the freeway route, okay? And if you put that on there, you got the inbound, you got the outbound, you got the freeway. We're just getting destroyed right there. Go back one more time, Curtis. I think you'll notice I haven't even added like the tour helicopters that are going to be tracing the coastline there. Those aren't even on there. And then we got the military folks too, of course. So we're under some nasty congested airspace. Okay. And this is just a little, just to show that air traffic is expected to increase. It goes up by about 5 or 7% a year. You can see a little dip there with COVID, but it's bad now. It's going to be worse year and year after year. So we got to get on this. Next one, Chris. I gave to you guys a little handout. I don't know if you can dig it up. I handed it out to each one of you guys on the table, and I think
For sake of time, can we make a motion for the resolution so that then we can move into discussion, so then we can try to vote before 9?
whatever you suggest, let's get her done.
I make a
Yeah, that's good. I do have a motion to accept the resolution as presented and in our Google Drive.
motion.
Angie, and is that a
Yes.
second, Laura? Okay. You need, I think you've laid it out super well. Like we're inundated with a lot of traffic.
So I wanted to, if you can, the little handout I gave you all, that is the QR link to the comments that the FAA is taking right there, that QR link there. I think if we can be specific about what we don't want to see, they can really work that into the redesign stuff. So I've labeled the flight paths there. That Magi 3 is a problem one, the inbound one, that MKK5, and it's also the PALAY 3. Those are the major outbound ones. And then I think we should probably ask them to do something about the freeway route a little bit. I don't know how much they can change that one, but some of these others can be shifted so that they're not overpopulated areas. And I'm kind of thinking that about 5 miles off of the south of Diamond Head, I don't hear them. I can see them and they'll go south and they stay south. You don't hear them, but some of them will fly back north, go right up over us. It's pretty loud. So
And I think your resolution here that we have,
it addresses each one
all
those
of these here.
problematic flight paths. Exactly.
So as far as our board goes, this would be a resolution from our board. And of course, we're all welcome to testify individually as well on this. But since this is the resolution before us, we have a motion and a second here. Is there any more discussion as far as, or are we ready to move right to? Yes, ma'am.
Quick question.
Yeah.
These paths that are highlighted here, are
Yes.
those the existing or the proposed changes?
These are the existing
Okay.
ones.
So
These
we're,
are the problem ones, yeah. And if you have the little flyer there, like if you want to log in, Angie, use that QR code.
okay.
I've gone through it. It asks your phone number, asks your email, and then it's like, what's your problem? You can put noise or sensitive
Okay.
flight path. And I've got some suggestions in there. I'm hoping all of you guys will take some time at some point and plug those suggestions in, like get rid of the Magi 3 overhead, keep the MKK 5 south of Diamond Head, and then of course mention the Tor
Okay,
helicopters.
so right now they're looking to adjust it. So that's why now is the time that we want to pass the resolution, to say
Right.
the words. Okay, got it.
And I
Cool.
do have some good news. We put this together kind of hastily because it was going to close for comments at the end of the month. They've given us an extension till March 15th. Okay. So I like all of us to fill out that QR code thing and just put in the suggestions there. I've told you what to type. That'll get rid of all the problem players. But then if we could like maybe get this flyer out to like the community at large, we can get more people commenting on these problem paths and hopefully make a statement to the FAA.
And I think this resolution would do that because it authorizes us to ask Curtis to distribute that to all the other neighborhood boards and chairs and our representatives and city council members and all of that. So with that, in the interest of time and so that we can get this done. Yes, Anthony, go ahead.
Hey, so sorry to hold this up really quickly, Chad. The incoming MAGGI that goes over Marine Corps Base Kaneohe, is that for safety purposes, or do you, in your conversations with FAA, do you understand why that occurs?
I don't understand why, and thanks for bringing that up because there are a lot of different stakeholders with this airspace stuff, and the military is definitely a big one. Okay, and then the commercial airlines, the Tor helicopters, they're taking input from all these guys, and some of these guys think it's their job to put more planes in the air. They think they're here to promote aircraft travel. So if we don't say anything, if we don't get a bunch of people responding with comments, like, you know, these guys could very easily overwhelm us and be like, well, we're the military, this is what's going to happen, or, you know, so they're taking comments from all these different stakeholders, yeah, including the Marine Corps base.
Is that okay, Anthony? Okay,
Sure,
then.
thank you.
Okay, then with that, if there's no more discussion, I will call for a vote. Yeah, let's do a roll call vote.
With Knight.
Aye? Yes?
Aye. Yes, this is to adopt the resolution that was presented in the Google Drive. Resolution titled Mitigation of Aircraft and Helicopter Noise within the context of the FAA's Hawaii Airspace Modernization Project. Allen. Messina is absent. Mattson. Absent. Miranda.
Aye.
Murchie. Murchie. Absent. Rosman.
I'm not absent, sorry, I missed the mute button. I'm aye.
Murchie. Aye. Rosman. Aye. St. Dennis.